practice after this Busch race, so you have to believe, these guys, their goal is to try to win this Busch race. Valuable information for tomorrow night's race in the 600-miler.
And for the Busch regulars, a lot at stake here as well. There's the point chase, and there's probably 10 or so of them who have a legitimate chance to win this race today. On this Memorial Day weekend, let's go trackside for our opening ceremonies.
Shall we pray? Our Father, we are grateful for all the blessings that you give to us every day, but particularly this day for the great weather, for those who are here to participate, for the fans that have come to share this experience. We pray, Father, your blessings upon this event, that it may be safe for the crews and the drivers. We pray also, Father, that as we see the power and the skill that is exhibited on the track, that we might all be reminded your great power and of the fact that, Lord, that you care for us and that you're a great God. We ask that you would bless us all in Christ's name. Amen.
They'll be performing tonight at Food Lion Speed Street. We now ask that you join monument recording artist Little Big Town in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
Ladies and gentlemen, Little Big Town. The U.S. Navy F-14 missing man formation was from Naval Air Station Oceana. And now for the command, please welcome from Carquest Auto Parts, today's Grand Marshals. Thank you, Beth.
Engines have fired here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, the Carquest Auto Parts 300. It's set to go for 300 miles. Take a minute to remember what we hold dear on this holiday weekend. The lives that have been risked and given to protect the freedoms that we enjoy across America and around the free world. And now we're set to crank it up on Fox with the NASCAR Busch Series. Why don't you crank it up too? And we'll be back with 300 miles of Busch Series racing.
You hear those motors? Man, those things are singing. He's got a fast hot rod.
I just said this to all. I can lock all my doors, and it's the only way live in cars. Here is my car. I can only receive. I can listen to you, and it keeps me stable for days in cars.
Welcome back to Charlotte, the Carquest Auto Parts 300 miles for the NASCAR Busch Series. Here's the way the points stand. Jack Sprague just 31 points off Jason Keller's lead. Keller's teammate Scott Briggs in third. Former champ Randy LaJoie in fourth. Mike McLaughlin fifth. Wallace, Compton, Biffle, Hamilton, McMurray are the top 10. Let's have a look at the starting lineup for today's race. Ron Hornaday and Michael Waltrip, two of the Bushwhackers, the Winston Cup drivers who are in this field. On the front row, Bobby Hamilton Jr., recent winner Jeff Green, from out of the Cup Series, last year's race winner. And at row 3, Todd Bodine, 4th last year, and Jack Sprague. Matt Yoakum.
Mike Jack Sprague will roll off 6th. The last 3 races have been the worst stretch run for Sprague all year, with an average finish of 15th. He hit Charlotte, a racetrack where he's never led in the Busch Series, trying to get back that consistency, chasing his first series win.
Point leader Jason Keller in row 4. Brian Vickers, fastest of 8 rookies, graduated high school last night, 18 years old. Kevin LePage subbing in the car that won at Texas. Mike McLaughlin, who won here in '98. Earnhardt Jr. in the number 3 for Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt Inc. That pairing, and Scott Riggs, the leading rookie on the tour. Stacy Compton, who's been at the front of every race this season, and Jimmy Spencer, who won here in October of '97. Jamie McMurray 10th in the points, and the winner of this race 2 years ago, Jeff Burton. Here's Steve Burns.
Well, Mike Young, Jamie McMurray is on a roll. 3 finishes in a row of 10th or better, including a career best 4th at Nazareth last week. Today, he starts 15th. The really good news, his teammate Jeff Purvis has been released from an Allentown hospital after a serious wreck last week in Nazareth, and he is rehabilitating. Good news for Jeff Purvis.
Now, great news, and get well soon, Jeff. David Green makes his 18th start here. Kerry Earnhardt had a practice crash. Hank Parker Jr. 7th last October, and rookie Casey Kane. Mike Wallace has 2 top 10s here, along with Kevin Grubb. That's the 11th row. Row 12, Scott Wimmer, 11th here last October, and Kenny Wallace, who's right up there in the top 10 in the points. Tony Raines and Dan Pardis in row 13. Mark Green with a new car for today's race, and 21-year-old Stuart Kirby in the 14th row. Greg Biffle won here last October, finished 6th here last May, and rookie Casey Mears. Here's Speedway Illustrated's Dick Berggren.
Greg Biffle was the other driver involved in that Purvis crash last weekend in Nazareth. He starts 29th today. Deep in the field for him, but Biffle says he is glad to be here at all. He told me this morning if the safety equipment in his car had been what they used 3 years ago, he wouldn't have even made the race. He might not have even survived.
Tough, hard hit.
It was. And Mike, here's the same thing applies to this race that applies to the Winston Cup race. Information gained this morning in Winston Cup practice can be transferred over to these cars for the start of today's race. So being in both series right now, being in both practice sessions, and being in both qualifying sessions, the 2 cats on the front row, right off the Winston Cup, out of the Winston Cup car, right in the Busch car. So I think that's a real big, I think it's very obvious that that's a good thing.
Just can't get enough track time. Here is today's race analysis, brought to you by New Ultraman Ultra, the only once-a-day cure for athlete's foot. 43 cars, a full field, 200 laps, 300 miles, and the pit window.
60 to 65 laps would be a real stretch to make this race on 2 stops, but I do believe we will have plenty of cautions to take care of business. 3 sets of tires only under caution, NASCAR rule.
And, Mike, follow up on what you said, I just can't get no satisfaction. That's what the problem is.
No traction, no satisfaction.
I can't get no traction. I can't get no satisfaction. But I can go racing here in just a few more moments.
You were looking just a second ago out of Kerry Earnhardt's car, qualified 18th. Because of that practice crash and happy hour backup car, he'll have to go to the rear of the field, along with Jay Sauter, who's now going to substitute for his brother Johnny.
Now, folks, if you're listening on your scanner, stand on your feet, because we're getting ready to come off turn 4. These guys are looking down here at the green flag.
Even little Jimmy's boogity in.
Here we go. And here we go. Here we go. Boogity, boogity, boogity. They're off and racing.
Well, some of them are. Mikey's having a little trouble getting to the bottom there against Bobby Hamilton Jr.
He tried in a hurry to get to the bottom. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 slammed the door on him fast, Darrell.
But I think a deal was made. I want to get to the inside. He probably wanted to get in front of Bobby, but he didn't. But he got in front of his old buddy, old homeboy there, the number 21 car, Jeff Green.
What we'll see here in 3 and 4, that groove will move up. We'll have 2 or 3 racing grooves. Pretty much down in 1 and 2, the bottom is the best way around the racetrack.
3 and 4, they'll be rubbing the fence. 1 and 2, you got to kind of keep it down.
Whoa, Casey Mears in the 66, Kenny Wallace in the 48. Darrell, you can run 3 wide through turn 4, but it's like running into a funnel. You need to be single file when you go up on that front straightaway.
Yes, sir. It's real tight right here where the track takes off into the D shape.
Run out of racetrack.
Well, Mears had to run off the corner, got inside of Wallace, and they kind of ran out of room.
That'll happen over and over again, and you get those left wheels in that grass, sometimes it'll bounce you right out into the car beside it because it's a big mess.
You know about being in that grass.
I've been down through there a couple of times. 1989, familiar territory.
5th place is the race, side by side, looking back from Bobby Hamilton Jr. there. And let's see that bump off turn number 4.
As you can see, they're 3 wide back in here, 3 wide. 66 car acts as if he doesn't know Kenny Wallace is out there.
Boy, up front, Michael Waltrip in the 99. He's starting to work that second groove. We kind of figured he'd be the first one up there doing that through 3 and 4. Pulled right up on the back of Ron Hornaday and Bobby Hamilton Jr.
He's a high, wide, and handsome man. And he'll be up there, you see, right around the bottom in 1 and 2. Gets a run off that corner. Now watch as he goes down into turn 3 down here where he runs. He'll dust a little, probably a little dust flying off those right side tires. Here he goes up high, up on the outside. Gets back in the throttle real early there because he's got a good high smooth arc off the corner. Bobby Hamilton's got to give me room, and he does. And he'll be able to get that straightaway speed that that high line gives you coming off high like that.
Boy, last year's winner, Jeff Green, in that 21 car, he's moved into the picture. He's trying to figure out which one of these guys are going to make the pass. That's who he wants to get behind, Michael Waltrip or Bobby Hamilton Jr.
Well, you see how Bobby Hamilton can kind of hold his own with that low line in 1 and 2, but wait till they get down here. And believe me, Larry, you know this. Every crew chief is calling their driver and saying, try it high, try that high line in 3 and 4. It looks like it's working.
And Jeff Green in the 21, he did it that time. And when it really begins to work, Darrell, is when the tires start to go away, don't have that grip. It's not as hard on the tire at the top of the racetrack. You're not getting as much, you're not having to band the car up as much up there.
You can just get such a great run up high like that to get a great run down this front straightaway.
Hamilton Jr., though, holding his own on the bottom side against Michael Waltrip for second.
Well, he will, like I say, they'll kind of race each other back and forth here until Michael can see how he clears him right there. Just huge on the outside.
Yeah, Bobby Hamilton Jr., he actually loses 2 positions, so he goes all the way back to 4th as Jeff Green in the 21 goes by.
So now the race is behind them at 5th place. Todd Bodine trying to hold off Jason Keller. Turn 4, big trouble.
Several cars are away.
Head on.
Boy, here we go.
4, 5, 6 cars involved.
Josh Richardson came sailing in there and head-on the car that spun. Casey Earnhardt also involved, and 2 other cars.
Ricky Hendrick got some damage in that.
There's a Kerry Earnhardt's damage.
Of course, this was a backup car after wrecking in Happy Hour.
Oh, 34 is the
Stuart
other car involved. Stuart Kirby, a car that they're leasing.
Two rookies.
From Jimmy Spencer's team.
2 very young rookies there, as a matter of fact. Gonna have some splaining to do.
Yeah, Kirby was the car that went around, Darrell, and Richardson just came flying into that smoke, and Kirby spun all the way around, and they hit head on.
Yeah, Stewart, you know, he ran that car at Texas, and he spun out on the first lap down there. The car just apparently, you know, they set it up a little too loose for him for race conditions.
Now, the white car sitting on pit road, the 86 car, that's Jeff Fultz.
Oh, what a shame, because he won the ARCA race here last week, had a great race and a thrilling green-white checker run to win it, and Fultz is out of it.
Hope these 2 boys are okay, because those are a couple of hard licks right there. Those head-on crashes like that. As you can watch this. I'm not so sure. Maybe he didn't get some help going around that time, Larry. That 47 car looked like he was awfully close. Now that's a huge hit. It's all that smoke, and you really can't fault anybody when they're in a smoke like that. Car comes down the hill, just like we saw with Tina Gordon last week
in the ARCA race.
When they come down and all that smoke, you're just second guessing yourself all the way through it.
Well, those cars were way up high when fellas like the 11, the red 11, and Richardson committed to the bottom, and then the hole closed up.
I mean, you saw the smoke. I mean, that's the same thing he's seeing, just a lot closer view. You can't see anything, and that car's coming down the racetrack.
No, plus you're pretty busy trying to just hang on to that thing.
Mark Green was involved. That was a brand new race car from the Carquest onboard camera. Now that's Jeff Fultz, the white car, just to the outside right.
Looks like he's already in trouble right there, Mike. Looked like the car was starting to come out from under him.
So under caution quickly here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. We'll be back to Charlotte after this.
Carquest Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by Carquest Auto Parts. You'll find it at Carquest. By Dr. Scholl's. Look, feel, do better. By your neighborhood 7-Eleven store. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. And by 1010-220. Dial it, and all calls up to 20 minutes are 99 cents.
Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. Here's how the leaders run after a 6-car crash coming out of turn number 4. Let's show you again. You're going to watch the 47 of Shane Meal.
Now here they come right here. This is the car we're going to be watching right down in here. And they're going to come into frame, come into your picture. Right here, these 3 cars right here. Now this car right here, this 47 car, he's a contributing factor. Did he get into the side of Kirby? I'm not 100% sure. I do know that he was a factor. Either he took the air off of him, Kirby cut down, left the bottom open a little bit for the 47, but there was some effect from his wreck by the 47 car.
Keep her down, keep her down. Good, come on, come on, come on. I'll take a look at it.
That's Greg Biffle shooting through there.
Boy, Biffle.
And from Ricky Hendrick. That's Jeff Fultz outside of Hendrick.
And look at what these guys have to try to drive through. You just, boy.
Can't see a thing.
Not a thing.
That's about one of the most dreaded things you can deal with is driving into a smoke-filled situation.
Because the spotter can't do a whole lot.
Nobody can help you. You're on your own.
Josh Richardson is out of the race. Here's Kerry Earnhardt's car under repair. Stuart Kirby is out of the race. Greg Biffle has some damage. Might have pushed the nose, but he's got rear end damage for sure. Somebody got into the back of him. Shane Meal and Mark Green and Jeff Fultz all involved. So the caution is out early here in Charlotte. Welcome back to Charlotte. A lot of cleanup from this 6-car pileup coming out of turn 4. Actually triggered going into turn 3. Let's ride with Kerry Earnhardt through this.
Back it up, back it up. Back it up. He's turning down in front of everybody. Turn it down.
Mike, you know what all those cars, almost all the cars involved in that have in common?
Yep.
They have yellow rear bumpers.
Looks like it got up into the, so look like there's any
A lot of
race
rookies
coming.
involved, Darrell. True. Dick Bergman.
Well, a whole pile of people have just come out of the care center. Stuart Kirby, what happened to you?
Well, you know, it's just, I guess, impatient. We were only, I think, 7 laps into the race, and, you know, our U.S. Air Force Chevrolet was awesome. I mean, you know, we struggled the first 2 races, but we were able to come out here and have a good, consistent run, I felt like. And, you know, 7 laps in the race, you aren't even to where you know where your car is at. So, you know, it's just, you know, I run a Winston Cup race last year, and those guys can race. You know, we run, you know, the whole race, and everybody's real patient. But, you know, these guys, I guess, are just out here trying to prove themselves and just a little impatient. So that's what I see.
For a story of ups and downs, last Saturday night, Jeff Fultz had his best ever race. He won the ARCA event here. Today, you crash out. What happened?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we had a little slip in qualifying, got a little loose on our second lap, so it got us in the back in the first place. But the CNC Boulder Chevrolet, really, it was running good right there. We passed a bunch of cars, was going, this smoke happened. They said go low. I tried to went into the smoke and kind of lost everything and then got tore up.
And Josh Richardson is here, too. Come on, man. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just unfortunate for the smokers dessert topping Ford Taurus, you know, just trying to make laps, you know, learn anything I can. I ain't learning sitting here in the infield. Just come through the smoke, didn't see Stewart sitting there, and glad we're both all right, though.
And that is the good side of the story. Everybody's okay. To the Hollywood Hotel. And Chris.
All right, thanks, Dick. I thought he was doing a MASH episode, the way he was interviewing all the people who were injured in that wreck. By the way, Greg Biffle, who won here last fall and has yet to win, and actually no one actually injured in that 6-car wreck. Greg Biffle making it through that, a little bit of car damage. But Darrell Waltrip made a good point, Jeff, if you could expound on that for the viewers about the yellow rear bumper, rookies involved, and too early in the race for this kind of mishap to take place.
Well, I think it kind of brought it out. They said that people were getting impatient, and a lot of times guys feel like there's a need to get in a hurry. And this is a 300-mile race. Long ways to go. Short time started in. Felt like, you know, some guys maybe got together because of that reason. Young guys, a lot of times, do not take the opportunity to slow down and realize they've got a long way to go here.
All right, and we do here. Let's go back upstairs. We're getting ready to go green.
Shaking a little bit of stuff off those tires as we get ready to go.
Dale Jr.'s made a little climb there. He's up to 7th in those first 6 laps.
Yeah, that's a car you may not have seen. It does carry The number 3 that his father made famous for Richard Childress Racing, but a new sponsor.
I tell you guys, a car we better watch. Jeff Hammond talked about him in the beginning of the show. Started 16th. Jeff Burton in that 9 car. He's all the way up to 9th, and that was only about 6 or 7 laps of green flag racing.
That's not the 9 car. That's Pork Chop.
Pork Chop. Pork Chop's the 9 car.
Pretty, isn't it?
All right, pull them belts tight. We still got a lot of racing to go, boys.
I think if you've got time to get to the volume knob, it's time for us to crank it up on this restart.
Strap those televisions down.
It up CD should just have car noise on it. Car sound, race car sounds.
That's all my CDs got on it.
We got a battle for the lead here, boys. Michael Waltrip about 99 been working that high groove since about the beginning of the race, side by side with Ron Hornaday Jr. in a 26 car.
Now, Mikey told me this is the best car he ever had at Charlotte, but he's told me that about 50 times, so maybe today it's going to play out for him.
They made a few small changes on that car this morning. The racetrack really got slick yesterday. He said it was a little bit loose in, tied off, but said all in all, pretty happy with it.
This is one of the great things about this racetrack. 2 cars side by side for the lead, and look, it brings 3 more cars right into that lead battle, sucks them right up.
And it's sucking another one. How about our points leader, Jason Keller, in that 57 car? He's right there with him as well.
Oh, there hadn't been many boring races at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I can promise you that.
Right now they have Jeff Green in the 21 car trapped on the high side just because of the way you enter turn 1 and 2, Darrell. Round the bottom's a fast way through 1 and 2, but down there in 3 and 4, you can run up against the wall, you can run in the middle of the racetrack or at the bottom.
And I'm showing my age. This is Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Right. And Jeff Burton on the move, just picked off 7th place, so he's in that lead pack.
I mean, all of a sudden we got 7 cars right there nose to tail battling for the lead.
Well, this is a Jeff Burton kind of day. Track's hot, slick, car's got a handle really good. They got a good little shock package with that car normally. That's what it takes to be good here today. You got to keep your tires happy. You don't want to make your tires mad or your car just go all, it will fall off on you.
Earnhardt Jr. up the hill, and here goes Burton.
That may have been orchestrated there. That may have been planned.
But that's one thing about Jeff Burton. If his car will even come close to working, you'll see him at the bottom of the racetrack at both ends, including 3 and 4. Steve Burns.
Hey, Larry Mack, talked to Brad Parrott, the crew chief on the 9 car this morning, and he said they qualified well. Then they made a bunch of changes for practice yesterday, decided they didn't like any of those changes, so they went back to their original setup, and it's working right now.
Sounds like everything we talked about during happy hour on FX. You'll change it all around and then go right back where you started.
Well, what you do is you try a lot of things, find out what won't work, and then you realize that what you had was the best thing that you could do, and just put it that way and race it.
Well, Jeff Green, he beat Bobby Hamilton Jr. in a turn 3 at the other end of the racetrack. Bobby Hamilton Jr., though, on the high side, got that run, took the position back down the front straightaway.
I think it's pretty cool the way that 25 team has come into its own. Fred Wonky goes over there. He's a new crew chief. Bobby Jr. has had, a little bit of success, but nothing like they're having right now.
Here he comes on Hornaday. This is for second.
Just looking, you're clear.
Wow.
Look at that. See, that's what he come off of turn 4 high and then cuts it to the bottom. Now that 21 car, or that 26 car had to give him room to do that, but he made it.
That was a slice then dice kind of move, and look at Hornaday now is hung out to dry.
He's going to lose several positions here. Jason Keller in the 57. Jeff Burton in that 9 car. Old Pork Chop right with him.
Oh, no.
Tag.
Hang on to her, Hornaday.
I saved it. But he's going to come back down the racetrack. That's where we've been getting trouble.
He's been watching our shows.
No.
Caution did come out. Caution is out.
Boy, that was one incredible job. Way to go, Hornaday.
That was a great save.
But you know, he stayed with that thing, and he stayed in the throttle, and he kept a rear tire spinning. When it got up there, and when they've been shooting down the track, he released the brake, caught it, and took off.
Who was that, Kevin? That's at 9, Ron. 4 tires, you guys are on that track bar up 2 rounds.
And Darrell, there's the difference between rookies and drivers with a lot of experience.
Oh, he's got some experience.
Front-running experience.
He's got car control. It's incredible car control. You can see definitely contact. See the rear tires. They stay in the throttle. Gas, 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 gas. See the front tires are smoking. Stay in that throttle. All that smoke's coming because he's not backed off the throttle yet. Now release, release. And away we go.
How do you see through all that?
So you feel. You know where you are. You don't have to see anything.
That was by the textbook right there, wasn't it?
That's a beautiful save.
I don't know 10 drivers that could have saved that car.
No, sir. Well, let's see, the thing just got there and hung. It didn't go all the way around, and that's what saved it. And believe me, when it's got where he could, he caught 3rd gear and took off.
And the first thing you wanted to know, who was that?
Who did that?
Who did that? Well, that onboard pans real well to the right. What a great save. This is from Jason Keller. That's more sideways than you can get and save it. But he did. Matt Yoakum.
And he is going to be in here, Mike, for service. 4 tires and a track bar adjustment. He said the car was getting a little bit loose. And what a save. Looked more like Danny the Dude Lasowski, the dirt track last night, saving that car. The left side tires going on. Back upstairs, Mike.
A lot of pit stops. Kevin LePage, Randy LaJoy have been on pit road. Shane Meal, about a dozen cars.
Of our top 20, about the only one that pitted was Ron Hornaday, but he had to because those 4 tires was flat spotted.
He wore them out in one turn.
The Carquest Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by Carquest Auto Parts. You'll find it at Carquest.
Fox welcomes you back live to the Carquest Auto Parts 300. And there's your leaderboard under our second caution. NASCAR racing across the Fox networks continuing tomorrow with NASCAR this morning presented by Smirnoff Ice. That's on Fox Sports Net. Then go racing under the lights with the Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 on Fox and the pre-race show. Speed Channel, the home of NASCAR TV, always there for you trackside, and nothing gets you closer to NASCAR. Everybody involved in that 6-car wreck treated and released. Let's now go down trackside to Dick Bergman. Dick?
Well, when Michael Waltrip won the pole yesterday, he came into the media center and said he couldn't believe he didn't win the pole because Hornaday did. He said he put down an absolutely perfect lap and thought it was going to be the pole. Just came on the radio a few moments ago, and they were talking about whether they should pit or not, and he said that if he had pitted, they would not have changed anything in the car. Michael Waltrip's number 99 car in the lead is perfect. To Steve.
Well, Dick, earlier, DW talked about the experience of Fred Wanke and the impact that he's had on young Bobby Hamilton Jr. making just his 98th career start. This morning, Bobby Hamilton Jr. told me the biggest influence is he doesn't have to worry about the car setup. Fred Wanke has the car ready. When the car gets to the racetrack, the responsibility is on Bobby to drive the race car. We're ready to go green.
Set for the restart, completing 27 laps.
Green, green, green.
Boy, Hamilton got a good restart.
Well, I think Mikey didn't get it. He didn't get a restart, I think, but the 25 did get a good run on him. And, you know, we saw that over here the other night. Restarts are so critical. Everybody wants to spin the tires when they come down and take the green.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that most of our leaders didn't pit. Remember, you can only change 3 sets of tires under caution, and it ran about 12 or 13 green flag laps.
Yeah, tire management is pretty critical in this series for 300 miles particularly.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. led 159 laps at Richmond, won New Hampshire, led the most laps there, finished 6th at Nazareth, all in the month of May.
He's on the road, boys. And he is drawing away from Uncle Mike.
There's the first side-by-side racing. Kevin Grubb to the inside. That's the Biaggi brothers car alongside number 4, Mike Wallace.
Those cars that really jostle around down the back straightaway and into turn 3. You can see so much body movement as the cars head off into turn 3.
This is a battle for 14th. 14th on back.
66 Casey Mears and Greg Biffle with a little bit of damage to the right rear corner. Not much from that first caution.
Kind of a little wing stuck out there.
Yeah. Ooh, little tap.
And Darrell, I don't think you know that'll really affect the handling of that
you wanna
car.
go.
This is actually the car that he won with here in October. I talked to Greg this morning. He said, Larry, we threw so much stuff at this race car
Coming up
yesterday.
outside.
As you hear his spotter continue to talk to him, but he said it just nothing was working. So he said we went back, not only do we have the same car we won with, but it's the exact same setup, same springs, shock, sway bar, the whole package. Matt Yoakum.
I got a question for Darrell Waltrip. Now, Darrell, back when you were driving, did your crew ever leave a message for you or something in your race car to remind you to save that race car?
Well, yeah, most of the time Hammond would always leave me a little love note in there, you know, of some kind. Focus, think, concentrate, long way to go, think points, you know, some kind of message just to get my attention, sometimes just to make me mad.
Well, DW, back in October in this race, Greg Biffle's crew, the Fab guys in the Fab shop, left a little die-cast car glued to the dash with the side all scraped up because Greg Biffle is known to knock the side in during practice. They wanted him to know, save that side, which means you'll save that race car, and that race car will be there at the end. Well, after some tough luck this year, they put that die-cast car on the roll bar so he could easily see it. They took a grinder and ground the side right off again so you can't see the paint. Ty wrapped it in there so he can see it and remind him, save that race car. But I think earlier in the race, that wasn't his fault.
It's kind of like method acting. You know, what's your motivation? There it is right there.
You know, I talked to Greg this morning about his race car, talked to him a little bit about himself. He said, you know, Larry, after that horrendous crash last week at Nazareth with Jeff Purvis, he said, I felt good all week, but he said, trust me, running this race car yesterday, I'm hurting a little bit today.
Scott Riggs to the outside of Mr. Excitement, puts the pass on Jimmy Spencer. Jason Keller's teammate, Rookie of the Year hopeful, leading in that category, and the number 10 with 2 wins.
What you try to do right now, Mike, is just kind of drive your car. You start giving the crew some feedback about what it's going to need when you make that first pit stop. Some guys will get better when they make that first stop so they can make the critical adjustment that they need to, for the track conditions.
Jeff Burton, meanwhile, continues to move through this field. He just passes Jason Keller, the point leader, for 4th place. Hamilton Jr. the leader, Michael Waltrip 2nd, Jeff Green in 3rd, then Burton, Keller, and Earnhardt Jr. .34 laps complete here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. .39 laps complete at Charlotte. The big movers, Jeff Burton up to 4th place, and Greg Biffle, who's come from 29th to 12th.
Now, do the math. That's the same guy that said he was working on his 409K plan.
Yeah, you get that at the Chevy dealer?
I don't know.
Or Fidelity.
This battle here is from about 11th on back right here. Todd Bodine in the 92, Jamie McMurray in the 27. Greg Biffle in the 60. Boy, he's been on the move, hadn't he, Mike?
He has really picked up from 29. How about McMurray in that 27? He's 10th in the points, having so much of an improved season over 1 year ago.
Yeah, you know, everybody had high expectations for that kid when he got in that car. Last year was not a very good year, but this year he is starting to live up to those expectations. Took him a year to kind of get comfortable in the thing.
Biffle to the inside of Bodine. Todd's going to run some Winston Cup races for Travis Carter beginning next week at Dover. 6-race deal.
Yeah, they were up this past week testing up there, getting ready for the race up there next week.
Riggs looking to the ball.
Up the hill, up the hill.
And around and into turn 2, Randy LaJoy.
Caution is out.
And that's a nice save.
Come on, you're clear
Keeps it away from traffic.
Come on, Randy.
I don't think he hit anything. He made it. Back it down, nothing to gain here.
I know I talked to Randy and his group this morning. They've not been very happy with this race car since they unloaded it. They have thrown everything but the house at it, been loose ever since they unloaded.
Well, it's going to be worse now because I think he got that rear spoiler knocked down a little on the right side there.
We got 4 tires.
Looks like he just barely clipped the... That's Hornaday down the inside. Gosh, I don't know. It looked like the car maybe pushed a little bit, and Randy cranked into it, and she spun around on him.
You know, Darrell, looked like it maybe all started right on the entrance. He entered that corner awfully high, a little higher than you normally would enter.
Yeah, and you got a car that's already loose, and you get the air off of it like that, it can go around with you real quickly.
I would say that we're 43, 42 laps into this. All of our leaders will be to pit road. Ron Hornaday, though, in the 26 car, he'll probably stay out and get the lead back or be close to leading this thing again.
But this is a come on down.
Yes, 4 tires. Here they come.
And let's go to Dick Berggren.
At 4,500 RPM, Michael Waltrip comes down pit road. He had been running in second position before the caution flag. Car absolutely perfect. They're not going to change anything on this automobile except fire some fuel in it and put 4 tires on it. He has picked a good pit position. He can easily get out here after the stop is over. Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Bobby Hamilton Jr. is in. He's tight from the center off. They're going to change 4 tires. No other chassis adjustments, just air pressure on the 25. Let's check in with Matt Yoakum.
Here in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit is Budweiser Winston Cup crew is servicing the car. No adjustments on the number 3 car. Just 4 tires of fuel, and he's down and away. But he's not going to win the race off pit road.
A crash on pit road, and Jamie McMurray had to back up to get out of his pit and backed into Brian Vickers. Further down pit road, Casey Mears gets together with Kevin Grubb.
I mean, we had about 41 of our 43 cars on pit road at one time. Ron Hornaday did pit, but just to top off the fuel, and they made a chassis adjustment. He came out 3rd.
Every time I hear something, look at the color of that rear bumper. Well, that wasn't necessarily his rear bumper's fault that time. No, but had to back up. The 27 did. Must be some trouble in front of him. Now he's got rear damage and a lot of it.
Yeah, he's going to have to come back to pit road. You know, Darrell, I have to accept the responsibility as a crew chief. These drivers are strapped in that car. They have the head and neck restraint device, headrest. It's on the crew chief's shoulders to talk to that driver what's going on, especially when pit road is that crowded.
Oh, yeah, and everybody comes in at one time. It's a madhouse.
Now, McMurray didn't even try to go out of his pits forward. Hank Parker Jr. was right in front of him. And Darrell, see the marks here where the teams mark where they want that car to stop? That is Parker's pit, and those marks are pretty well back in the pit box. So if McMurray is on his mark and Parker's on his, there's not a lot of room to pull out. So he intended to back up. The trouble is, another car was there.
Jamie McMurray stopped right on his mark pretty much. They're back in there repairing. And the reason these teams will favor the rear of their pit box is where they don't get blocked in from the front side.
Right.
And it starts stacking up, and sometime, somewhere, somebody's going to get blocked in.
Coming around for 46 to go, the pace car is in. Michael Waltrip leads them down. Kevin LePage in second. And here, Hornaday gets the restart as he did so many times in the Craftsman Truck Series, and motors on around LePage for second.
Now, he didn't go into pits on this. Well, he must have gone in and
He gas only in a chassis adjustment because it hadn't been that long since he changed tires.
Right, he didn't change tires, so I knew he had to go in and get something.
Boy, Kevin LePage is losing a bunch of spots on the back straightaway. He's all the way back to 6 now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 3 goes by. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25. Jeff Burton in that 99 car.
He was just trying to find a hole to get into, I think, Larry.
Steve Burns.
Yeah, Jeff Burton came to pit road that 9 car. He's been fighting a bit of a tight condition. They took a round out of the left rear, put a half a pound of air pressure in the right front. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
LaJoie made a pair of pit stops in car number 7. He's the guy that spun and brought that caution flag out. Front fascia damaged, right rear corner of the car slightly damaged. The good news is Randy had a horrible cold yesterday, feeling better today. It's too bad the car is not. To Matt.
Dick, Steve Addington is Jason Keller's crew chief. Your car was loose. What'd you guys do to it?
We did an air pressure adjustment. We did this practice. It wasn't as hot. The back end of the car is real slick. We did it. We dropped the back car and did some air pressure adjustment. We'll be all right. Helps the Ford to come back to the front.
An interesting note, Mike. Both top 2 drivers in points have never led a lap here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Saw Keller battling his teammate Riggs there.
Boy, I tell you, after these pit stops, everybody gets really, really racy on these fresh tires.
Lots of grip. Feel good.
Oh, yeah, they got the Mr. Feel Goods on them right now. About the only thing that'll help a really bad race car on a day like this is 4 fresh tires.
Looking out of Greg Biffle's car, this is 8th position, but boy, Michael Waltrip at 99, he's done pulled out to over a second lead here in just 2 or 3 laps after that restart.
Yeah, I think he probably made a little adjustment in his car, and it's really helped it. It didn't need much.
How about Biffle? 3 wide on Hornaday and LePage.
Those guys knew that was not going to work on down into turn 3. Somebody had to give.
I have to say one thing about Biffle. He has no fear.
No, but he's not 100%, Larry, after that. Whoa. Careful here.
I've seen a lot of them woes.
The number 4, Mike Wallace. Vickers in the 40. Graduated high school this weekend. That's the story that's been in all the papers. But what Toby Robertson wanted us to know and remember is he's not raced ARCA, Darrell. He's not raced Busch. He's just run All-Pro. He's 18 years old. He has not got the experience on these big tracks, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, he is. He's looks like he's got a real great future ahead of him. He's done a good job several times. We've seen him this year. Not too slouchy today.
No. He graduated actually last night. His dad had always told him you have to maintain at least a B average to keep racing. He did better than that. Straight A's. Dick Berger.
Yeah, let me tell you how well that kid did. He qualified 8th out of 49 cars here for this race today, but last night may have even been a bigger achievement. He graduated 7th out of a class of 259 at Trinity High School.
That's Trinity, North Carolina.
Well, they got all wadded up here. Yes. The one car, actually, Jimmy Spencer and Scott Riggs are both kind of loose and slipping up the hill and causing a roadblock right in there.
See Mike McLaughlin in the 18 and Jay Sauter in the 2 substitute for his brother. They get together. Breaks Jay's momentum. Casey Mears in the 66. He's going to bring the group by as well.
Get a little tap there from the rear, get him a shove into the 3rd turn.
Boy, Darrell, that's a great shot. Turn 3 looking down that back straightaway. That back straightaway, these cars move up and down. I mean, there's a big hump at the end of the back straightaway where the actual drive-through tunnel is.
Yeah, you'll bottom out. You can hit the ground pretty hard over there with the right shock package and a soft left front spring.
LePage, who restarted up toward the front there in the 37.
But if the car doesn't move up and down like that, the shock packet, it'll snatch the tire off the ground when the car gets to hopping like that. So the car's got to move for the car not to be uncomfortable to drive.
Tough to set up for. There's LePage, who's falling into the clutches of the number 2 of Sauter. Matt, what's the problem?
Well, Mike, he is one of 3 drivers here in the turn 1 side of pit road that did not take on tires in that last stop. Remember, LePage pitted on lap 24 for 4 tires. On the last stop, they made a track bar adjustment on the first stop, but they had to go back on the track bar because they made the car too loose. He came in 29th, out 2nd. Now he's just going to try to ride to get back in the sequence, but he gained some track position.
Meanwhile, the Marines are getting ready to land on Michael Waltrip.
Yes,
here comes Hamilton Jr. and right behind them, Burton there with Green, or Earnhardt Jr. and Green. Burton has gone to 3rd, and Hamilton is on the way toward the leader. Probably won't be long before Jeff Burton joins them in a 3-car battle.
I was definitely going to say the Marines are being pursued by Mr. Green. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 3-car, though, he's right behind Jeff Burton.
More on the 2nd place car. Here's Steve.
Yeah, Mike, Bobby Hamilton came into the pits leading this race and went out 5th. Fred Wanke, the crew chief, said, Bobby, sorry, we had a lug nut hang up on that stop. Bobby said, hey, man, don't worry about it. We've got a great race car. I'll get it back, showing a lot of maturity from the cockpit. To Matt.
Well, Michael Waltrip has called to his pit crew and told them that he thinks the car is bottoming out. It feels like he has a right front shock absorber gone bad. Waltrip, your leader, having handling problems.
2 things about Bobby Hamilton Jr. Yeah, he's got so much confidence right now. Don't worry about that lug nut. Michael's car, again, we see those cars bounce up and down as they go down that back straightaway. That jostling around can damage a shock absorber sometime.
Well, Darrell, he's still about the 2nd fastest car on the racetrack. The quickest right now is Jack Sprague in 7th place. But here's Hamilton. What a confidence builder winning is. Look at the month of May that Bobby Hamilton Jr. has had, and now he's telling the crew, I mean, they did everything they could to lose in that race in Loudon. He won it, and now he's telling the crew, don't worry, I can get it back.
Well, the same thing for him that he does for the crew, they got to do for him. They complement each other. You know, don't worry, guys. When he's having a bad day, they build him up. When they're having a bad day, he builds them up. That's a great team when you can do that.
And they unloaded here this car, a brand new race car, untested. The first laps they ever saw on the racetrack was when they rolled out of the trailer for practice yesterday.
lap ago.
Whoa, Todd Bodine back there.
Yeah, the 92 car.
Looks like he might have got a little bump.
And for the lead, Hamilton Jr. for the second time today.
Boy, that car seems to really get better on the longer runs. The 25 car, Bobby Jr.
He really works that high side down in 3 and 4, keeps that old engine wound up.
Sucker looks smooth, too. Looks like he's just out there having a good afternoon. Oh, got the one car in the wall. Sorry about that, guys.
The one car has brushed the wall, but recovered. We have, however, gone to caution. Jimmy Spencer, a brush of the wall at turn 4, no spin, no other cars involved, but the caution flag waves again.
A lot of damage to that race car, though, and this was the race car. We're watching right here. This was over in turn 3 and 4.
He's running that, see it, he's running that high line, and he bobbled just a little bit as it got up, started up the hill. That little bobble, he lost control.
It's a fine line when you're up that high up the racetrack.
It's dicey up there, and it's dirty, too.
Ron Hornaday drives through it.
He did bring the caution out. The unique thing about this race car, he ran it at Fontana, had a little bit of damage on the fender. 2 weeks ago, they were bringing it to Charlotte to have that fender repaired. The trailer and the truck had a wreck. This whole car was destroyed 2 weeks ago in Gastonia, North Carolina. They had to put a whole front snout and a whole body on this race car. Fortunately, the 2 guys in the trucks were okay.
You don't mind losing a car on the racetrack so much. That's part of racing, but you sure hate to lose one in the truck.
It's tough.
Spencer wasn't driving the truck, was he?
I don't think so.
We're
under caution
truck in the Carquest Auto Parts 300.
The Carquest Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by the American Plastics Council. Plastics make it possible. By Subway, fresh-made sandwiches on fresh baked bread. Subway, eat fresh. By Cold Bold, Captain Morgan Gold, the refreshing new premium malt beverage. What do you say? Got a little Captain in you? And by Old Spice, the deodorant of NASCAR.
You know, we like to have a little bit of fun on NASCAR on Fox. Imagine that. So after his Loudon win, we sat Bobby Hamilton down for a very special NASCAR on Fox interview.
You got the car people to do it.
What are you doing? Where you at? There you are right there.
Oh.
I've been looking for you all second day. Get on your feet right now. Get on your feet right now. You must be kidding me.
Yeah.
I know you know what the situation is. He doesn't get a 45 real.
You still a man.
See what I had to go
Still
through?
a man.
Do you see what I had to go through?
Sir, on behalf of the United States Marine Corps, all the Marines forward deployed, especially during Operation Enduring Freedom, I'd like to present you my personal campaign cover. Right here. This is my cover block for my last platoon. I keep my cover nice and straight for you. This is in recognition for your win at Loudon a couple weeks ago. Appreciate all the hard work you've been doing for me.
No, everybody, this is Satan. This is the guy that we got off the bus, and this is who we met. And you can see this is why we were so tore up about it. So, and that was one of the things I wanted for the win.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. went to Marine boot camp, and that was his drill instructor who came back to pay him a visit.
Actually took some of his team members with him as well.
And is here today. So if Bobby wins, they'll be celebrating, and if Bobby messes up, there'll be more of the same.
Yeah. And every week there are a lot of these Marines in his pits everywhere we're racing.
Steve Burns.
And Mike, we actually have Satan here, the Bobby Hamilton Jr. referred to. Staff Sergeant Mike Jensen, you had a lot of fun with Bobby Hamilton this morning.
Oh, it was great. Brought back memories of what happened in January. Came down January, Paris Island. Exact same thing. Yell and scream out a little bit. Give him a taste of what it's like to be a recruit when he first steps on Paris Island.
And now you had the whole team down there. Were they good students?
They kept their mouths shut and did what I tell them to do. So they're very good students. Yes, sir.
I don't blame them, Mr. Satan.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Well, you have the Army on Brian Vickers' car. You have the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines all involved in NASCAR racing, and we're certainly glad to have them and to honor all the members of the armed services this weekend as we celebrate Memorial Day.
That's pretty good backups if you happen to get in trouble out there on the track.
Yeah, it's not like having a lug wrench in your pocket when you climb out of that car in the pits, is it, Darrell? All right, let's go back to green as we complete 65 of 200 laps. Team Marines and Hamilton in the lead. Waltrip second, Burton third, Earnhardt Jr. fourth, and fifth, Jeff Green.
Still 36 cars on the lead lap here at lap 65. Boy, Bobby Hamilton Jr. all day long. What a restart. I mean, time he got to turn one, already 5 car lengths on Michael Waltrip in the 99.
Yeah, I don't think Michael would be happy with that restart. Bobby brought him way, way down, and Michael started to go once, thought Bobby was going to go dead, and then Bobby took off. So have to watch those restarts.
Think they rent gears at Aaron's?
I'll tell you, they might need to.
But I tell you, the other thing he better watch is out his rearview mirror. That 9 car, that green car, Jeff Burton, he is coming in a hurry. He's working the bottom of the racetrack at both ends. He's all the way up to the back bumper of Michael Waltrip.
I wish Scooby-Doo was in this race, and he could chase old pork chop.
Dick Berggren.
Bobby Kennedy is Michael Waltrip's crew chief. How about it? We heard on the radio he was worried about a shock absorber.
Turn two.
We got problems in turn 2, Bobby.
The 32 of Dan Pardis got loose off the corner, got collected, and got in the fence.
Caution is out.
I don't know if he hit anything very hard, and I got a little crinkle in the rear. Yeah, he's got some left side damage here.
The Outdoor Channel Chevy going to make it back around for the caution flag. And NASCAR will call this a quickie yellow.
Which basically means under normal yellow conditions, only lead lap cars can pit the first time, then lap cars down with your 1 or more can pit the second time. Quickie yellow, it means we're going to do a short caution here. Everybody can pit the first time.
Did you see Michael drive up beside of Bobby Jr.?
After the caution flag.
When the caution came out? I think he was sending him a message.
Let's see what happened to the yellow car, Dan Pardis.
Oh, he just, again, the thing just bobbled with him a little bit there, and he got behind on the steering.
Boy, Kevin LePage, twice. He dodged the bullet twice there. Just a little bit of contact with outside wall.
Let's go back to Dick Berggren.
Deja vu with Bobby Kennedy. So, how is that race car? Is it okay, or you got problems?
I don't think we got a problem. He started bombing out a little bit, and he seemed concerned about a shock, but he seemed to move around a little bit, and it went away. It's just too free right now, a lot freer than he wants it to be. And I just told him to find him a spot and ride, and we'll get it worked on. But I think we'll be fine. We've got a good race car.
And that'll be the next pit stop, and they will not pit this time around. Mike?
I'm not sure, Larry, if many people will pit this time.
No, again, we're only a third of the way through the race, and we're not running that many green flag laps at a time right now. 2 or 3 laps, we have another caution.
Mike Wallace is in, and as well as several cars toward the back of the field. Kevin LePage comes on to pit road. Mark Green, and then number 38, Randy LaJoie, Ricky Hendrick, Kerry Earnhardt, Jimmy Spencer, and Dan Pardis are making pit stops under this caution. When late model sportsman became the NASCAR Busch Series, Harry Gant won the first race. Mark Martin has won 6 of them. Those guys are the 2 answers to every Busch Series trivia question. They ran 400 miles here in '85. This is the 41st race for the Busch Series, so titled at Charlotte today. Today's Track Fact brought to you by KFC. There's fast food, and then there's KFC.
Pace car is off. Don't have really any lap cars out there right now that Bobby Hamilton Jr., the leader, has to contend with, so more or less a single file restart.
Green flag.
He stayed with him that time.
A lot better restart on Michael's part that time.
Bobby Jr. still gets down in that first turn strong, man. He drives her down in there, and away he goes. But if Michael's car's a little free, like they're saying, he can't run down in there quite as hard as Bobby Jr. can.
Just can't turn that wheel and stay on that throttle.
Got to let off a little early to get her set.
Now, Darrell, you're coming across the line at reduced speed on the restart, but it looked like Hamilton's car never let off going in 1 and 2.
More than likely, if the car's handling good, and you can do that, you can run down in there wide open and right on off the corner. But you got to be handling good.
All right. Jay Sauter in for Johnny in the number 2. Under pressure from Jack Sprague.
Battle for 7.
Yep, Jay up there in 7th place. Sprague with Grubb behind him and McLaughlin. Let's go back and have a look at their restart. Right at the bottom of your screen, zoom.
Yeah, and we saw that over and over again. We've seen it almost every race they've had here. Trouble on the restart. So the cars spin the rear tires, just picking up a lot of debris, I guess, and not getting them cleaned up well enough. I asked Michael about that. He said he thought the tires were pretty hard, and then they pick up that debris, and it just, sometimes they spin when you come down to take the green.
Well, the two teammates side by side, Riggs and Keller. That'll make Greg Pollux and Keith Barnwell hold their breath.
But you know, I didn't realize last week at Nazareth when Keller in the 57 won the race, Scott Riggs in the 10, that's the first time in PPC racing history that those cars have finished 1-2.
That's quite an accomplishment for any race team.
Yes, it is.
All right, Steve Burns is in the garage.
And we've caught up with Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy, what put you in the garage?
Oh, I think somebody hit me, don't you? I mean, that's what everybody blames. I just lost it, you know. The car was pretty good, and we wanted to try to win the race for yellow, and my whole team, and we loosened it up some more, and we got her too loose. And, you know, I drove her down in there, and I said, I think it'll work, and it worked for 4 or 5 laps, and then I messed up. But, you know, I'll tell you something. We've had a tough year this year. First time I can get on the phone and say that, hey, I messed up. I'm sorry to my boys. That's part of this sport, but we'll get in the winner's circle before long. Jeff Purvis, we love you, man. Praying for you. Howdy.
Thanks, Jimmy. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Interesting story on car number 46, Ashton Lewis. His brother Charlie is his crew chief. He had a terrible starting spot in 38th, but last night in happy hour, he was second quick. So far today, he has dodged 2 spins, worked his way through traffic. He is currently running in 14th spot. Crew is very optimistic. They keep the fenders on this thing. Lewis could have a great finish this afternoon. Mike?
Thanks, Dick.
He actually just made a pass for 13th, so he's been on the move all day long. We need to also document that Mike Wallace.
Oh, turn 2.
Randy LaJoy.
2 cars.
Caution is out.
Separate from one another. There may be fluid down there. That's the 94 of Jason White in the fence, along with LaJoy, who may have put something down on the track down there in 2.
Well, Randy in the 7, he has had a tough day. He's had a tough 2 days here.
He's had a tough season, you know.
And I think actually that, you know, he spun out over there the first time. And
broke or something on that car flat.
I just think the car's way too loose for him, way too free. We heard him talk about that.
See what we can do to get it fixed.
I mean, you talk about him trying to get it fixed. I mean, he comes in here 4th in points. So anytime you can get back out there and make laps, make a few positions, it can make a big difference.
Well, he's got her cranked up, and going to be able to drive it back to the pits.
On to the garage.
I think he's going to have quite a bit of left side damage. You can see that car is kind of whoppy-jawed there.
Now, that's a new one. Whoppy-jawed?
Whoppy-jawed, yeah. See how it's kicked out in the back?
Kind of cattywampus.
Yeah, cattywampus. Cockeyed, something like that.
Everybody to pit road. Dick Berggren.
Well, Michael Waltrip will be among the very first to hit his pit stall. He's pitted far down pit road. Here he comes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as Bobby Kennedy calls him in. It's going to be a 4-tire change. Not a lot of change to the race car, however. Going to put some fuel in him. Brian Vickers is going to pit directly in front of him. Steve Burns.
Dick Berggren, this race car is so good for Bobby Hamilton Jr. No chassis adjustments, 4 tires. Chris Beeson and Kyle Power changing tires. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
And Steve Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Bud guys are already around servicing the Nilla Wafer Chevrolet on the left side. Spring rubber in the right rear. He said his car was fairly tight, and he's down and away. A battle off pit road. 47 has a wedge wrench left in the rear window.
That 47 car, Mike, he wasn't even planning on pitting, and he come down and he had to cut through the grass to get to his pit. I don't think they were really expecting him.
But he will have to come back in. They'll be expecting him now because he'll be back on pit road.
Now, we talked about Ashton Lewis Jr. getting to the front, and he did. He did not pit. So Lewis will be the leader as LaJoy steams onto pit road.
But, you know, this is interesting. That was lap 77. All of the leaders, except for the most part, Ashton Lewis Jr. and the 46 not pitting. That's 123 laps to go. That's 2 sets of their tires these teams have used under caution. That means everybody, what they've done, they've got to that window where they can make it on one more stop. But I mean, my gosh, we're at lap 76, and we've already had 6 cautions. So the 46, he's staying out there saying, I still have 2 sets of tires I can use under caution.
Don't save them too long.
Let's have a look at what happened to Randy LaJoy and Jason White.
Yeah, Randy just got up the hill again. I think the car's loose, and it just wobbled with him getting down into one, and he chased it up there, got in the loose stuff, spun it around. A lot of left side damage. I think the 94 car just responded or reacted to what he saw in front of him, and he spun his car around.
From turn 2. Whoa. Darrell, with the radial tire, when you turn into a slide and that tire suddenly gets grip, are you in control when that happens?
You can't steer the car that quickly. It just darts back the other direction. I mean, just directing. I think that's what he meant to do the first time in.
Yep. Now it's done.
And, you know, Darrell, I agree with what you're saying about Ashton Lewis. It's good strategy, except when everybody behind you pits, now you're sitting out there on about 20 laps on your tires. They're going to be coming in a hurry.
Yeah.
Under caution at 78 laps. 6th caution of the day. We'll be right back.
The Carquest Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by Carquest Auto Parts. You'll find it at Carquest.
March 300 here on Fox. As you see that Ashton Lewis, who started 38th, your current leader. We're under our 6th caution and getting ready to return to action in a moment. Fox Sports presenting Crank It Up in your CD and in the air. The CD Slayer, Rob Zombie, Stained, also featuring Head, PE's Crosstown Traffic, and Jeff's favorite, Buck Cherry's on the Road Again, and a lot more. Crank It Up, the CD. Rev your engine on race day with this collection of remixes and originals that you won't find anywhere else. So Crank It Up, the CD, breaking the rules and available in stores now. They're getting ready to go green. Real quick assessment on the pit stops, Jeff.
Looks to me like some guys are really struggling today, especially our point leader, Jason Keller. He keeps coming in, and every time he goes back out, he's losing 6 to 10 positions, and that's not going to get him a championship or give an opportunity to win today as we get ready to go back green.
Keller will restart in 24th position. There are 32 cars on the lead lap. We'll get an update from Matt in a moment, but here they come for the green. Lewis
Green flag, green flag, green flag.
leading, and here we go.
Yeah, our top 4 did not pit that time. Ashton Lewis Jr., Scott Wimmer, Kevin LePage, and Mark Green. Kevin LePage in the 37 was actually in about 10 laps ago on lap 66, 67.
Yeah, and he got a pretty aggressive restart there, too, LePage did.
Talking about aggressive, Ron Hornaday Jr. in that 26 car on the outside of Kevin LePage, battle for third. Look at Michael Waltrip get to run down the backstretch in that 99 car.
Or maybe Michael got his car tightened up a little bit. He said it was loose. Been pretty good on new tires, but he fades a little after a few laps. Of course, a few laps of green's all we've had, so hadn't had to really worry about it too much.
Now, what's happening to Jason Keller on these pit stops? Here's Matt.
Well, Mike, under that pit stop scenario, the 57 car pitted. They pulled the spring rubber out of the right rear. His car is still loose on entry, but the biggest hindrance for Keller was not the over-the-wall guys, but the car right in front. The 59 car, Stacy Compton, blocked him in. That's why he lost so much track time. Meanwhile, Jack Sprague in the 24 car. We have a crash.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 3 car, he got loose. A lot of cars having to go down pit road, hard in the outside wall, still dodging cars. Caution is out.
And probably 9 cars shot down pit road.
Boy, what happened, Mike, is some of those cars that didn't take tires, some of the guys that did, we had those fast cars closing on those slow ones, and they ran over each other. Got all tied up right in the middle of 3 and 4 down here. You'll see just cars everywhere, no place to go.
The cookies in that box
crunched.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a good replay. When I looked up, though, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 3 had gotten loose and was moving up the racetrack. I think he actually got into the side of Mike Waltrip in the 99.
Yeah. Watch, the yellow car is Earnhardt. There it is.
He slides up in front of Michael. Clips a little bit.
Comes down and clips Mark Green.
Mark Green.
Look at the cars going down pit road. This is well over about 140 or 50 miles an hour they're entering pit road.
These cats on pit road never slowed much.
No.
They got on pit road and
no, they kept getting it. So only 3 cars involved. unless you count Michael Waltrip against the back bumper of Earnhardt Jr. Hamilton right there.
I mean, look at the cars coming at him. Jack Sprague, Jeff Green. I mean, he was in front of a lot of race cars.
And since Earnhardt is not running for points in the Busch Series, they went straight to the garage. Let's watch from Michael Waltrip.
There he is up on the outside, and Junior just kind of slides up in front of him and gets just a teeny bit loose. I don't think Michael ever touched him. I think Dale Jr. drove in underneath him, Michael, when he got loose.
All right, come on. You're okay, come on. Damn, that was my fault.
Michael's up on the outside of Dale Jr. Dale Jr. bobbles a little bit. I don't think Michael ever touched him. I think the car just bobbled, and he couldn't control it.
And you know, Darrell, if he was a little bit loose, Michael shot up there that right rear quarter panel. That pulls his back of his car around, makes him even looser.
Just sucks you around, Larry. Just feel like somebody got a hold of the thing pulling on it.
Here's the Applebee's on board. That's Jason Keller.
Back it down. Come down pit road. Come down pit road.
Good
Come
call.
on through there. Watch that 66. Keep digging with it. Come on.
A very good job.
Here's a difference, Darrell, in spotters. Now, we're hearing the radio traffic on a delay, so that command was given earlier. Remember in the first crash, we had Kerry Earnhardt's spotter, and here we had Jason Keller's. Keller is telling his driver where to go. Kerry Earnhardt's spotter in the first wreck was telling his driver what was happening, leaving the driver to make up his own mind. So just a different way to do it.
See, I always told my spotter, tell me what I can't see. Don't tell me what I can see. Because, I mean, you're on the other side of the smoke. You can see through the other side. I can't.
Right. Steve Burns in the garage.
Hey, Mike, we caught up with Randy LaJoy. Randy, tell us what put you back in the garage.
Man, I wrecked. Spun out earlier in the show and come back, and I thought the car was going to be good. It was pretty loose getting in the corner and lost it again. I feel sorry for, the race team and, Win Dixie and Kleenex. Everybody puts on an effort to put these things in the show, and I back it in the wall. It's not good. But we'll come back next week in Dover and get them.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay.
So LaJoy, who had led only twice this season so far and came in here fourth, is out. Here is our point leader, Jason Keller.
Get a broom out, guys. Somebody get a broom and be sweeping that water.
See if we can look at this one more time from a different angle. Here's Dale Jr. down here on the bottom, Michael up on the outside. Dale Jr. gets his left side down on the apron. I don't know if he and Michael touched or not. I think Dale Jr. possibly slid up there, and they did make contact, but I think Dale Jr. was just on a slide up the hill, and then he came up into Michael.
But what started the whole thing was on that entrance to 3 when Dale Earnhardt Jr. had got his tires, his left side tires on that apron. It's a different transition.
Yep.
It shoots you up the racetrack.
Yeah, you want to be on the yellow line, but you don't want to be below the yellow line.
And give a call to Jack Sprague. Instead of hitting the gas and slamming his way through the wreck, he jumped on the brake and then got through it.
Back, easy, back down, easy. All right, come on. You're okay, come on. Damn, that was my fault.
That was Michael Waltrip somewhat taking blame for what went on there.
Oh, I got sideways and hit him, so tell him it's my fault. About spun out. When I saved it, I hit him.
Well, perhaps what Michael didn't see right there was that Junior was on the flat and coming up at him. So, everybody's view is different, including that of the two drivers.
I'll take the word of the guys out there in the cars.
Me too.
Because what we see up here isn't always what you get.
Pace car's off. We're going to try it again here on lap 87. 7 cautions already in the book.
Do you know how many green flag laps we've run consecutively? 15 twice.
Wow.
That's the longest green flag runs we've had without being interrupted with a caution flag.
Well, that's good news for the fellas counting on having only those 3 sets of tires.
Boy, look at the run Ron Hornaday Jr. in that 26 car. Got right in the middle of the corner. Just able to pick that throttle up so much earlier. Drag race down the back straightaway. He'll take the position getting into turn 3.
I think that's those old tires, though. They're going to pay. Ashton Lewis is going to pay the price for that.
How about this guy in the 60 car, though? Greg Biffle, all the way up, battling for 3rd, battling for 2nd right here. He's been coming all day long. Pulls in the back of Kevin LePage in that 37 car. Much faster than these guys right here.
Fortunately, Tony Raines gave him some room right there because he definitely cut down in front of him, but Tony gave him some room.
And how Tony Raines got up there was he changed 2 tires a while ago on that stop.
Now, that might have been a pretty good strategy. Maybe if you didn't want to take 4, but I at least should have taken 2.
For more on Biffle, Dick Berggren.
Well, his crew just told him that he is in the catbird seat. Biffle has come from a starting position of 29th. Right now, he is running in 4th spot. He said the car is just a tick free, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Biffle with a legitimate shot to win this race after the horrible crash he endured last week. To Matt.
Well, Dick, we documented at the beginning of the show that this has not been one of Jason Keller's best racetracks, never led before today. His crew chief, Steve Addington, the concern now, Steve, is the engine. Was it getting too hot?
The bracket that holds the radiator up to the ductwork is broke or something, and it let the radiator get back away. Temperature got up, but could be part of the reasons with the handling problem. If we get that worked on, we'll be all right.
The water had climbed up to 250 degrees. Looking at the points race, he restarted in the 29th position. Jack Sprague, 10th.
Ron Hornaday Jr. out in front after a great restart. Here's Raines and Burton as they fight for 6th place. Make that 5th place. Tell you, in 30 years of watching races, the 2 best I've ever seen on restarts, the 9-time modified national champ Richie Evans and Ron Hornaday in Southwest Tour, Winston West, the trucks, the Busch Series. He gets his restarts.
Well, some of it's mechanical, knowing what you want in the gearbox. The other thing is anticipation. Boy, if you can time it, you can jump all over the guy in front of you.
Well, he's about the best I've ever seen, Darrell.
He really shined in that truck series for a number of years.
A lot of times, some of that I have to attribute to the gearbox. Some guys restart in 1st gear. Got a real high 1st gear, gives them an extra shift, gives them an advantage.
Boy, Greg Biffle, what he did, he rolled out of the throttle, getting into turn 3, didn't drive it in deep. He was able to pick the throttle up so much earlier, and he wins the race here. He takes the lead. Dick Berggren.
You guys were talking about Hornaday. I was at a gear shop this week doing a little bit of homework, and one of the things I discovered was that Hornaday restarts in 1st gear. So I talked to him about it a little bit, and he said that his gear research, his business of being able to restart so well, began years and years ago at stick only when he was racing locally in California. Probably nobody has put more time into figuring out gear ratios than Hornaday, and it has paid off for him in race after race after race.
Boy, right now they are eating him alive working the high side. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 and Jeff Burton in the 9 went by him on the high side through 3 and 4, kicks him back to 4. Yeah, and Darrell, most of these guys restart in 2nd gear, but the secret is not have a lot of split where it falls down in RPMs as you go from one gear to the other.
You're going to look like a hero if you have an extra gear.
Yeah, right.
You're going to look like a hero if you got an extra anything out here.
Well, let's see if we can put some laps on the board under Green. 94 complete. Jeff Green passes Kevin LePage, and that's 5th place.
And one thing we've been trying to tell you for about 4 cautions is Mike Wallace is in the garage here. He retired a while ago after that little problem on the racetrack. Like Dale Earnhardt Jr. not running all the races, no sense in trying to repair it and be back out, so he's out for the day.
All right, Jason White is also out after that crash. Jimmy Spencer, Jimmy Kitchens in the garage, Stuart Kirby, Jeff Foltz, and Josh Richardson.
This is a battle right here for 12th. Jamie McMurray in the 27, Kevin Grubb in the 54.
And right behind Grubb, here's Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, you know, Michael right now, he's not running anything like he was. And I gotta tell you a little something. That's psychological. He feels bad about what happened to Dale Jr. You lose some of your enthusiasm. You're sitting there kind of anguishing over that, thinking about that and not focusing on your job.
Jeff Burton has caught Bobby Hamilton. This is for 2nd place. You see leader Greg Biffle getting away, but this will be the battle for 2nd. And a car off the pace, Larry Foyt in the front straightaway. Everybody goes by Larry on the inside.
He's able to get to the bottom of the racetrack. The trick will be, can he make it all the way back around now as he's just now in turn 1?
He can't make it around. I think it's an engine failure because the car is going really, really slow. It's about right. We've been about 15 laps, haven't we?
Right. Not quite. Now Jason Keller. Inside Casey Mears. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, it was Mears or the grass.
And that's one of the tricks of this quad oval front straightaway. It's actually 3 little straightaways hooked together with 2 small turns.
Yeah, and if the guy crowds you at all, you get those left sides in the grass, or at least he'll force you down that way. Casey Mears he's been in a couple of little skirmishes like that.
Larry Foyt did not make it around, but he did make it over to where one of the wreckers is parked, and they can pull him out of the way. Oh, Hornaday gets sandwiched. That's a Rains and Sprague sandwich there. And here comes Scott Riggs.
Restarts are good. At least he's got something going for him, you know.
Coming up on halfway. In 2 laps here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Greg Biffle's Ford has marched to the front. And Larry, he's not 100%.
No, he's not. As we were talking earlier, you know, he found out yesterday, and this is a lot of times when injuries will show up is after you've been in that race car beating and banging around. He said, Larry, I'm telling you, my ribs are hurting me, but you know what'll make you feel better? A race car like he's got today.
Leading the race.
With the halfway this time. Halfway, just keep us posted about every 10 laps on the chassis.
Halfway, and Greg Biffle has a 1.3-second lead. Just past halfway, 3 Fords, Biffle, Burton, and Hamilton in the top 5 with 2 Chevys, Green and LePage. 104 laps complete. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the garage. Steve Burns with him.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Dale, we heard your Winston Cup teammate Michael Waltrip take responsibility for that. He said he got into the side of you.
Yeah, we all had new tires, and there's a bunch of guys with old tires in front of us, and it was kind of stacking us up. So Michael had a lot of pressure behind him, I could see, and so. Yeah, I'm not too upset about that, but you had a good car. I want to thank Richard Childers and Bobby Hutchins and all the guys, Bobby Leslie, everybody that's helped us run these 2 races with Nabisco. It's been a lot of fun for me to drive for Richard, you know, and enjoy that. So tough luck today, but you know we had fun overall.
Thanks, Dale. We've got caution on the racetrack.
Casey Mears, Shane Meal.
Brian Vickers.
Brian Vickers is the 3rd car.
And Ron Hornaday, who had slid all the way back to 20th, was involved as well.
Ricky Hendrick.
And whoa, here they come back to the flag.
Yeah, that was about to be big as Brian Vickers came back on the front straightaway as Greg Biffle and Jeff Burton were coming right at him.
Looks like the only car that won't drive away from that one is Shane Meal. If you like your racing filled with yellow flags, have we got a show for you today?
That's that right. The track, I give a lot of that's the track's fault, especially turns 3 and 4. We constantly talk about, there's Ron Hornaday with damage. We constantly talk about how slick this track can be and how fickle this track is. And I tell you, when the sun is setting in the west like it does, laying over in that 3rd and 4th turn, it's as bad as it's going to be. About 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you can hardly stay on it.
And we just set a record for the day for the longest green flag run. That was 19 laps.
Oh, 19.
Shane out of the car, okay, looking at damage. Here's Hornaday with the right front pushed in. Darrell, but for the Randy LaJoie crash and the Jimmy Spencer crash, both of which were single car spins, a lot of it's been the drivers without much experience here.
Yeah, a lot of yellow bumpers today, and that's just because they don't understand or they don't know how bad this track can get. This track is so deceiving, Mike. You practice, you say, oh, my car feels good, got a lot of grip. You get in a race out here with the temperatures high like they are and the track slick like it is, and you don't have any idea what happened.
Now, all of our leaders, I believe, are going to stay out.
Go low, go inside of you. You're all clear of it, all clear.
It's Ricky Hendrick driving through it.
Let's say he didn't see the other cars. There's another car in the fence up here in front of him.
Michael Waltrip in and out quickly. Jason Keller is in. Stacy Compton is in.
Ashton Lewis, who had been out there a long time on his tires, finally gets to come to pit road.
Put up on that 57 car, too.
The big problem right now is Ron Hornaday Jr. in the 26. He's sitting almost right in the middle of pit road as the cars from the other end of pit road are trying to get out.
Battery is gone on Hornaday's car.
Well, I think he's got more trouble than that, though. I mean, he's going to need more than a battery, unless they're going to hook it to something that'll pull that fender out.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Brian Vickers, the 18-year-old who graduated last night, has got a car that looks like a fugitive from a junkyard. There's hardly an inch on this thing that is not somehow or another damaged. Mechanics right now with a huge sledgehammer beating on the back deck, trying to be able to get that spoiler fixed. Spoiler will help hold him down. He's hit the wall in the back. He's been involved in an incident on pit road. Last night may have been fun. Today has not for Brian Vickers.
And here goes the battery run for Ron Hornaday. Once they get the car behind the wall, they'll replace it. And there's the handoff to the pit cart.
Where are you going to take it, Robbie?
Shane Meal climbed out of his car. Everybody else was able to drive away.
Past the big screen TV.
All right, now, the way they should be able to change this battery, it's a pretty fairly simple change. It's located right in front of the left rear. It's located right there. They pull a door off, and it has a quick disconnect right there that just slides apart. It's a marine application. So you pull that apart, you pull the old battery out, you slide the new battery in, you connect it back, put the cover on, go away. You can do it most places under caution without even losing a lap.
I just don't think, Larry, they're going to need a quick disconnect. I tell you, I think they're going to have plenty of time to get that battery changed.
Well, Ron's got his helmet off and getting ready to climb out, so looks like they'll have time. The caution is out again at 108 laps at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
The Carquest Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Old Spice, the deodorant of NASCAR. By Lowe's, now featuring the new Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon credit cards. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you. Nothing's better. Dr. Pepper.
Ron Hornaday's car in the garage being worked on. Dick Berggren is there.
Well, Ronnie, usually I ask people what happened, but so much has happened to you, maybe I should just say what hasn't happened today. What's going on?
We're still having a lot of fun still, I think. I don't know.
You're having fun. They're rolling your race car out here. The battery's all chewed up. Crush panel's all chewed up. Can you get the car back out in the racetrack?
Yeah, it's still running. We should have wrecked it the first one when the 9 car got us. He didn't mean to do it. We were just really loose, and he just touched us. And I don't know how we saved it here, but we did. But these guys are working hard. It's just got the left front planted so hard, it's really loose getting in. So the car's good for about 15 laps, and we're burning the tires off. That time we just neglected to put the fuel in. Only we had a good race car. We were just going to try to ride in the top 15 and put tires on at the end. And I'd seen that 40 car starting to spin, and the 66 got into us.
The battery box is all chewed up from a torn up tire. Let's go to Matt.
And Dick, another Truck Series champion, is off the racetrack, and that's Jack Sprague. They're servicing the car, working on the right front fender because under the crash of Dale Earnhardt Jr., he sustained damage to that right front, creating some aero problems. He pulled up alongside Scott Riggs under the caution. They didn't feel like it was rubbing, so they didn't come in then, but now they felt like they needed to because the car just was ill handling.
Thanks, Matt. Given the positions these cars are running in right now, the points would really be shaken up. Jack Sprague would move back into the lead over Jason Keller and his teammate Scott Riggs. Randy LaJoie would hang on to fourth.
Last week was Keller and Riggs' first 1-2 finish. If they go out here today the way things are headed right now, they'll leave here in the points 1 and 2.
But I tell you, with Jason Keller and Jack Sprague, the points lead has been like a hot potato. You take it. I don't want it.
Been an interesting season. Chris?
With Jeff Hammond, 8 cars officially out of this race already, a lot of activity. What are we set up for over the final 93 laps?
Well, I think hopefully these guys are going to get settled down. You're going to see, you know, guys like Jason Keller go ahead and kind of make their way to the front, and we'll start to see some really good side-by-side racing. And Jeff Burton been coming to the front all day long, before too much longer. I think he's really going to start flexing his muscle because it's getting close to time to go racing.
And again, Greg Biffle, our current leader, again, he hasn't won this year. He did win Charlotte last fall. And Roush Racing has won 7 of the last 13 Charlotte Busch Series races.
I'm telling you right now, they got a really great package right here. And you can see right now they're running 1-2 as Greg Biffle gets ready to bring them back down to it for a restart.
Jack Roush, healthy, up, moving around, expected to be at the Dover race the next weekend, which you'll see on FX. Let's go back upstairs.
Coming around to complete lap 112. The caution has been out 8 times for 37 laps. Make that 38 as we come by and go back to green. Then a speedy dry there coming out of turn 4, and some cars slip and slide in it coming up to speed.
Pretty much single file through 1 and 2.
I tell you, I don't think I've ever seen so many beat-up race cars at Charlotte. Looks like they've been running in Bristol or someplace, some short track.
Boy, Jeff Burton in the 9, he just drove that thing off in the 3 and 4 on the high side. That thing stuck. He just about got all the way beside Greg Biffle, but Greg got a good run on the exit of turn 4 down low.
Of the 43 starters either out of the race or behind the wall. And this restart pretty strung out pretty quickly.
Kevin LePage getting sacked up down the back over there by the 10 car.
And here comes Riggs to the bottom of the racetrack, battling LePage. This is for 5th place.
Fights back on the outside, which that outside will give you a good run off of turn 2. And look out.
Whoa, Kevin Grubb,
Come on,
down the front straightaway.
Whoa, that's a dicey move right there, guys.
Look at Mike McLaughlin. That 18 car always runs good here. They're going to kick LePage all the way back. It's going to be all the way back to 7th, back to 8th.
That was a strong move by Kevin Grubb.
It really was. I mean, everybody had to do a lot of giving and taking right there.
Jeff Green in 3rd, trying to close up on the leaders. Let's go to his pit, Steve Burns.
And Mike, Jeff Green running in the 3rd position. When he makes his next pit stop, which should be his last, he will have the benefit of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Winston Cup crew. Tony Eury Jr. will be changing the front tires. Now that Earnhardt Jr. is out of the race, these guys will service the 21 car when it comes to pit road.
It's like bringing in a 2nd battalion.
Of course, Jeff Green won this race a year ago, driving the actual 10 car that Scott Riggs is in.
Hank Parker Jr. past Kevin LePage. That's for 8th place.
It's a good run. He's been coming to the front steadily. Started back in 19.
That car, you know, that car will run good. It'd get right up near the front, and it seems like right at the end of every race they have something happen to it. Happened to him at Nazareth. Just doesn't have real good closing. They can't close the deal.
One of only 3 Dodges in the field. Of course, his teammate Casey Mears, as well as Brian Vickers, those 3 guys in Dodge Intrepids here.
There you see what's happened to the field. As they cycle through, Casey Kane climbed the hill in turn 1 and almost collected Jack Sprague. Now Kane is off the pace on the inside of the racetrack.
Yeah, Sprague was going by him on the outside, and Kane just took off up the hill and took Sprague all the way to the top.
No contact.
No, and it was not intentional. Something's wrong with the 98 car.
Keller side by side with, that's Jay Sauter in the 2 this week.
You know, I think these guys watch that Winston format. They think you're going to run 20 laps and have a break, and 20 laps and have a break, and then we'll settle it at the end.
This is a good 4-car pack right here. Kenny Wallace on the outside. You're with his onboard camera.
Still down the bottom, still there.
Sauter right behind him, Rains to the inside.
And their whole right side all banged in. Not what you normally see at Charlotte. This is usually a place where you try to stay off each other.
Martinsville, Richmond,
Bristol.
And you'd expect those tracks to provide this kind of racing.
All right, focus, baby. It marks now.
Let's see what happened to Casey Kane down in 1.
Well, whatever he did, he took Jack Sprague up the wall. Ooh, gosh, he hit the wall, and there's Sprague right behind him.
Sorry, Darrell, that was turn 4, coming off turn 4, so he was slow in 1.
Then they got down to turn 1, he had damage, and he took off up the track and took Sprague with him.
Well, we've not seen the last of Jeff Burton, I don't think. Here are the Bushwhackers, the Winston Cup regulars that run the Busch Series events on occasion. Jeff Burton is in 2nd. Our leader, Greg Biffle. Welcome back to Charlotte, where Jeff Green has just taken 2nd from Jeff Burton. Did it on the inside. Made it look easy.
Yeah, well, Mike, one thing I can promise you, the guy that wins this race will be running on the bottom of the racetrack when it's over with. Now, you can move all over the place early and middle of the race trying to find a line where you can get to the end. But the guy that runs fast here all day and wins this thing will come off of turn 4 right on that white line. You that's one of the things you try to do. If you can't do that, you keep working on your car, adjusting on your car until you can, because you know you got to be there.
You know, guys, a guy that really, he got off sequence on pit stops, but it could work to his advantage. Ashton Lewis Jr., he has moved back up to 9th. He has one of the fastest cars out there, and the thing he has going for him, in about 20 or 25 laps, most of the leaders are going to have to be to pit road because they hadn't been on pit road since lap 77. But Ashton Lewis Jr. will have to make one more stop as well.
Well, and plus, I'm not so sure he's not going to have to take 4 tires when he stops. What do you think?
Well, you run 65 laps, which is about a full stop. You just about have to take 4 tires. Unless it's very near the end of the race, you might can get by with just 2.
Lewis is 9th. Right behind him, Todd Bodine is 10th. Kevin LePage 11th. Michael Waltrip 12th. Let's go to his pit and Dick.
Well, Michael started in the 2nd spot, led a bunch of laps early, and now he's falling back. Bobby Kennedy is his crew chief. What's going on with your car?
Just way too loose right now. We come in that last caution, put some wedge in it, see if it helps. It's a little better, but still not quite where we need to be. And we're going to do twice as much the next stop. Hope we get back. We're only about a 10th off the leader right now, but we're too far back in traffic. We need to get a caution so we get caught back up, getting a little tighter. We should be okay.
And we should point out this is one of Michael Waltrip's very best racetracks. He's won in the Busch Series twice, and remember him winning the Winston from dead last in 1996. Mike?
Right now, the fastest car on the racetrack is Scott Briggs. He's the only car running under 32 seconds. He's in 6th place. As you have a look at Scott Wimmer battling the 37 of LePage. Wimmer just moved up to take away 12th place. And there's Briggs. He's the quickest car here right now.
And, he's a rookie. See that yellow bumper back there? But he is a rookie that is gaining maturity in a hurry. I mean, he does have other prior experience in the truck series. And he's a championship contender. That's a winning race car and a great team with Harold Holly. That team does a wonderful job.
In fact, these 3 cars, Hamilton, Riggs, and McLaughlin, are 3 of the quickest on the track right now. You'd also have to put Jeff Green into that group. But these 3 may have a chance to run down the lead pack.
See right there, speeds at the line, though. Jeff Green in that 21 car, a little bit quicker than Greg Biffle. And actually, the 54 car, Kevin Grubb, 4th right now. What a run he's having. But, when I look at that car, you think about Ed Whitaker.
Yeah.
You think about Harry Ginn at Charlotte. Well, Jeff Green run the high line through 3 and 4, got a good run down the hill down this front straightaway, pulls right up on the rear bumper, Greg Biffle down the front stretch.
Well, you can just, when you're up there high like that, you can just carry so much more speed off the corner because you get back in the gas and you can hold it wide open and you got a nice straight run onto the straightaway.
And the difference in the lap time is only about 4/100ths of a second.
Here he goes. He's going to go up on the outside again. Now watch him. Right in the middle of the corners where you gain all the speed. Here he comes, closing. Now, if he could get a good enough run, he'd dive to the inside coming through the front straightaway here and try to make the pass.
That's it, bud. Keep digging. Watch that 12 car ahead of you there. He's been on the bottom.
You saw by the graphic there about a half a lap ago, another record, 20 consecutive green flag laps. Wow.
All right, Dick Berggren is in the leader's pit.
With Randy Goss as crew chief, we've been listening to your man on the radio talk about a car that's a little tight. What is your pit strategy?
Well, we're in our window now, so we need a caution to get our last set of tires on. We about run the right front off, but we're a little tight right now. It's hard to believe with how hot the sun is, but Granger Crew's done a great job today. I just hope we can finish it out.
Can we show the audience his RPM speed? Look at this. That's the speed he's supposed to go. First gear, 4,800 RPM when he comes down pit road, so he doesn't get caught speeding, Mike.
Well, that's one note Randy won't lose. Not a bad idea.
Well, it's so noisy down in the pits, and you can't really communicate. And plus, that's something you got to tell the driver every time he comes on pit road. And you sure don't want to tell him the wrong number because he could get penalized if you do.
The 21 car, he's pretty consistent. He's right around the bottom in 1 and 2. He's all the way at the top through 3 and 4. Gets that run. Here we're back down in turn 1 and 2, right around the bottom. But he just can't get enough coming off of turn 4 to make that pass on Greg Biffle.
He's experimenting right now. He's looking for a way to get around. He'll find it.
65 laps to go. The leaders are nose to tail. Greg Biffle with Jeff Green as Randy LaJoie comes out of the garage area and back on track.
The The Carquest Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Busch, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series.
60 laps to go when they come around. The new leader is Jeff Green. He shot underneath Greg Biffle to take the lead there. As we went to break, here's the pass.
What did I tell you? I said he'll go up there and he'll get that high line. He'll dive down to the inside off of turn 4. And there he goes. Now, see, I think he might be listening to us.
But, Darrell, I think what's happened to Greg Biffle, I'm going to go back to his interview with Randy Goss a while ago, his crew chief, pushing, overworked the right front tire, and that's what happens. The car won't turn. You just abuse that right front tire. It continues to gain air pressure, and the only way you can fix it is make an adjustment and change 4 tires. Dick Berger.
Bingo, Larry McReynolds. We were listening to Biffle, and he just called to Randy Goss and said, my right front is toast. You just nailed it.
Jeff Green, the leader, the youngest of the 3 brothers. There's a look at Biffle.
Green flag pit stop start. Here is Kevin LePage in the 37 car. He's on pit road. I'd say the next 5 to 8 laps we'll see all the leaders to pit road. Matt Yoakum.
And Larry Mack, he had about 15 laps older tires than the rest of the competition, so a little bit off sequence. They are going to make a chassis adjustment. His car was a little tighter on that last run, but they are going to go with the same air pressure that they had on the last set of tires. Kevin felt it really helped his race car. A little bit slow on the left rear. The front's done. They're getting the last laps, and he is gone. 24.
Let's mention that Ron Hornaday is back in the race. They've replaced that battery and made the fender repairs. Robbie Faggart has taken his car to the garage, as has Mark Green.
Hey, I'll tell you another guy that we haven't said a whole lot about. Mike McLaughlin's right up there in 5th place and doing a whale of a job. And, you know, he's won this race before.
What's funny, Darrell, is
he runs second here.
He, along with Riggs and Grubb, all came through this pack together, kind of as a threesome. And they now sit 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And what will happen with those top 5 or 6, especially here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, because the tires give up so much, once one of those top 5 or 6 come to pit road, you can't be far behind them because they're going to go out there and be beating you 3/4 of a second to a second a lap. So you'll see them all pretty much, I think, for the most part, come together.
Now there is Grubb. He's climbed to 4th. He's about a 1.5 seconds now ahead of McLaughlin. Looking back from Ricky Hendrick at the race leader, about to overhaul him.
Ricky's been in a couple of little crashes today, got some damage on his car.
Up against the wall, he's there.
And he's going to go 1 lap down. Hendrick's been able to stay on the lead lap until just now.
He's just spun a couple of times and hadn't hit anything real hard, but he's had to go down pit road twice.
As these cars make green flag stops, change 4 tires, this will not count against their 3 sets. They still have another set they could use under caution.
21's going to pit this time, I think I heard him say.
Nice to get that inside information.
I like that. Hope you folks at home are liking that, too. Here he comes, hot and heavy off turn 4. Down on the pit road he comes.
And here comes LePage after Biffle.
Right there.
And that'll now be for the lead. Or excuse me, LePage is down.
But that's a prime example how fresh tires are over 60 lap tires right there.
Because he had pitted.
Well, Larry Mack, Jeff Green's going to come to the attention of his team again. He's going to have Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s over-the-wall crew, Steve Wolf on the rear tires, Tony Eury Jr. on the front tires, Kevin Pennell, the Jackman right side tires done, Tony Eury to the left side, jack up, no other adjustments to the 21 car of Jeff Green. Tires on, great stop for this team, and he's away.
Here they come, Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton. They're in the pits, as well as Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25 car.
And that will put LePage back on the lead lap because he had pitted earlier. Dick?
Well, Randy Goss just told them 4,800 in first gear, like you saw a few moments ago. Biffle could have taken at least right side tires. He's parked far enough out that he could take 4 if he chose to do so. And indeed, it will be a 4-tire change for Biffle. 2 cans of fuel. Jeff Merkel is on the jack. Tim Coffey is the gas man. Left side tire changer, Scott Gertz, Alan Tully. Boy, slow on the left rear.
Steve Ernst.
Jeff Burton getting service, 4 tires. They made a major air pressure adjustment. They went up 2 pounds on the right rear from where they started this race on. Burton's been fighting a bad push all race long.
Darrell, you've got to wonder what's happened to Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s pit crew.
Oh, man,
3 times in the last 4 weeks they've made a major miscue.
I mean, they held him after it must have been a 30-second pit stop.
But you want to talk about miscue, Kevin Grubb in the 54 car making his green flag stop. Guys, as he came to pit road, I was looking dead at his right side. He was completely sideways at the entrance of pit road trying to get there as quick as he could.
Matt's there.
And Larry, a heartbreaking stop for the 54 car. Trouble on the right front as they've now gone to work on the left side, getting that left front tire on, losing considerable time. You can see him waving his hand in the window. Frustrated, 27.2 seconds. Wow.
I mean, that's almost double the time the pit stop should really be.
And now, as Hornaday goes back to the garage area for the second time, Darrell, this is, to me, this is the most nerve-wracking time of the race. Green flag stops. You got a bunch of fast cars out there on new tires. Here's Kenny Wallace in. You got a bunch of fellows sliding around out there on old tires and a big speed differential.
Oh, yeah, the closing rate. There can be as much as 5 or 6 miles an hour, and you'll run up on the back of somebody, and when you do, that guy doesn't know which way you're going to go. So it's what we always say in a driver's meeting, hold your line. Wherever you are, stay there.
You talk about cars sliding around on old tires. Mike McLaughlin in the 18 car, what he's wanting right now is one of those cars sliding around to maybe spin just a little bit, bring a caution
Here
flag
he
out.
comes there.
But he's coming to pit road right now. He couldn't give up no more laps on those old tires.
And the second place car, Scott Riggs, excuse me, Darrell, he's coming right with him. So that'll turn the lead over to Michael Waltrip. Matt?
Well, Mike, down here on pit road, the 10 car making his way to his pit stall as they're waving the pit sign. I spoke to Harold Holly, Scott Rick's crew chief. He says his car is tight as the 18 car comes in of Mike McLaughlin. His car is loose in, but tight in the center. They were going to make an air pressure adjustment, see if they put any wrench in the back window. They don't so far. You can see a wrench in the back window of Rick's car. They made a wedge adjustment as they come around to the left side. Jaguar beats in the back window, and McLaughlin's down and away. And now the 10 is finally done as well.
Todd Bodine in the 92, he's in. Ashton Lewis Jr., who could have run a lot further, he comes to pit road. What those guys did, though, they changed 2 right side tires. That maybe is not a bad move. He couldn't afford to stay out there and just run lap after lap, even though he could run a lot further.
Todd Bodine is in, as well as Jack Sprague. As green flag stops continue, Michael Waltrip, the leader, Hank Parker, and Jay Sauter are now the top 3 as we cycle through pit stops. Dennis Connor's crew servicing Jack Sprague.
Boy, Hank Parker put it on pit road. He was all sideways, Larry.
Yes, he was in the 36 car.
Steve?
Mike, we're hearing Jeff Burton radio into his crew. They may have an alternator problem. Trouble on the 9 car.
One of the quickest cars all day.
And all he can do is start cutting switches off, things that don't, I won't say don't matter, but maybe those driver cooling fans.
I got on you last time you said things that don't matter, like things that keep the driver comfortable.
Jamie McMurray is in. McMurray had climbed up to 8th place here.
Tony Raines in the 33 car. All these scheduled pit stops, if we should stay green, this would be their last stop.
And one thing about the batteries they run in these cars today, when they go dead, when the car runs, and when it goes dead, it quits. It doesn't just kind of slow down like we used to do.
The Aaron's onboard camera with race leader Michael Waltrip. He has 3 seconds on Jay Sauter as Greg Biffle unlaps himself.
Yeah, if I was Michael, I think I'd be getting to the pit road here pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, the problem right now, Michael Waltrip's leading the race at 32.30s. These guys that have been pitting is running back here 31.50s and 60s.
Yeah, he's giving up an awful lot of track time.
But if he gets a caution, things would be good.
It's not a bad gamble.
But it is a gamble.
But it can put you in a hole is what it can do. Here he comes right here, I think. Yeah, here he comes.
Oh, you get now. Come on. 4,500 is line.
Now there goes Biffle at the line now. Michael's on pit road.
45 miles per hour all the way down this long pit road. Seems like it takes forever after you've been out there running about 180 miles an hour. Dick Berger.
Well, part of the reason that Michael waited was they thought there might be a debris caution. They were listening to NASCAR, and they were hoping that there was going to be a debris caution. 2 rounds into the right rear of this car. 4 tire change, just like everybody else has done. Michael now on pit road, pitted out of the lead. Not the best of pit stops, slow in the left rear corner, and being held on pit road. Penalty.
That'll give the lead to Jay Sauter in the 2 car. Scott Wimmer now being second. And Jason Keller in the 57 car, he'll be in third. Remember, these guys were on pit road back on lap 107, but they're getting close to where they're going to have to be on pit road.
Jay Sauter, his brother Johnny Ailing, And so Jay is the race leader, driving the number 2. And there's the discussion between the official in Michael Waltrip's pit.
That's Bobby Kennedy up face to face or nose to nose with that NASCAR official. Not sure what the penalty was for. I would assume it was speeding, but it didn't look like he was speeding. Obviously, they don't agree with whatever it is.
And as soon as we get word, we'll pass it on.
9 car on the apron.
Yes,
9 car on the apron.
Yeah.
Remember, we had that alternator problem earlier.
Darrell, we're told that the infraction was something in the pit box, and the officials are discussing it over there on Michael's car. They have not yet called it up to the tower. That's why we don't have word of it. But you see the discussion still going on, and the official will discuss it with the folks in the tower just as soon as that's done.
Hey, you know, it's Richmond, I think it was, we saw Greg Biffle have some equipment not be back halfway back into the pit box where it had to be before the car left. I don't know if that could be the infraction here or not.
You see Mike McLaughlin, an 18 car, again on fresh tires. What this did for him, it put him back on the lead lap.
He's the 11th place car, and because of this cycling through, there are a lot of drivers that right now are technically a lap down, including Tim Sauter, Scott Riggs, Kevin Grubb, and Todd Bodine and Bobby Hamilton Jr. that may cycle back through to the lead lap once all of these stops are complete. 40 laps to go here in Charlotte. Jay Sauter is our leader. 36 laps to go. Our Subway Race summary. We've had 9 different leaders, 13 lead changes, 9 cars on the lead lap as we cycle through green flag pit stops, but we've been plagued by 8 yellow flags for a total of 38 laps. The report on Michael Waltrip's stop was that there were too many men over the pit wall servicing the car. That was the reason he was held. We'll have a look at it here.
There he comes into pit road. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe that's the gas man.
Here
back.
Comes the gas man 8.
That makes
now, the only thing I
that
question
guy right
is that
there.
man right there, but he's pulling the tear off the windshield, and normally this late in the race, they will give you an extra man to service the windshield as long as that's all he does.
See, and I think they must have called the guy because, look, now he's trying to stay back behind the wall. So I'm not sure what that's all about.
Race control, however, Darrell tells us they have not yet allowed an extra man over the wall for driver service.
Okay. And that would be it, because what they'll do, they'll call down, and each official will go to the team that they take care of, and they will tell you extra man to service the windshield.
Yeah, normally about halfway through the race, that's normally what they do.
Stacy Compton in the pits, Casey Kane as well. We're going to go down with Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, we caught up with Jeff Burton. Jeff, we heard a report that it might be an alternator problem. What put you out?
Yeah, it quit making enough volts to run the thing real early in the race, and then it got better. So I thought, that telling them, hey, let's go ahead and change the battery, but it got better. For some reason, it was down to about 10, then it went to 13. And then on that run there, I looked down and it was on 8, and then one box died. I switched and went to another box, and then that one ended up quit running in 2. So it's unfortunate 2 weeks in a row that we've had some sort of problem with alternator or battery or something. So got to get to the bottom of it. It's a lot of effort, a lot of desire in this Gain team, and I can almost guarantee you it won't happen again.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Scott Riggs gets a lap back from Jay Sauter, as we saw. Now, Jay is in the car because his younger brother Johnny crashed at Talladega and then the next week at California, and is apparently feeling some residual effects of those 2 crashes and went in for some tests.
And Jay, actually, he ran a few laps of practice in the car yesterday, so it's not like he started the car cold turkey, but just to document how he inherited the lead, he pitted back on lap 107, but in about 10 laps, he will have to be to pit road. But I want to answer one question that the fan may have. Why don't NASCAR give the teams the windshield guy from the very beginning? What they try to do is let some cars get a lap down, because if you give it to them from the beginning under caution, that's 43 extra men on pit road that are vulnerable. So that's one reason they wait on into the race to do it.
Scott Wimmer coming onto the pit road, and Stacy Compton, the 59, back in, this time for a drive-through penalty. A pass-through for speeding on pit road when he made his pit stop about 2 laps ago. So we're cycling through stops. Jay Sauter, the leader. Jason Keller, Jeff Green, Greg Biffle, and Casey Mears in the Dodge has climbed to 5th. One week ago in the NASCAR Busch Series at Nazareth, Pennsylvania, Jeff Purvis has trouble, and here comes Greg Biffle under the bridge entering turn 2. A hard crash. Purvis released from the hospital to rehabilitation with a halo device, a couple of cracked vertebrae, and banged up Greg Biffle. But they, like many drivers, benefiting from the head and neck support. The Hans safety device, a semi-hard collar made of carbon fiber and impact-resistant plastic, designed to reduce the chance of injury caused by unrestrained movement of the head during crashes. That's our American Plastics safety fact.
Jason Keller, who was running second, he came to pit road, and what he did here with about 24 laps to go, he took 2 right sides only, hoping this thing will go green the rest of the way. Bad break for Casey Mears, who had been running 5th, made his green flag 4-tire stop. Speeding on pit road, had to do that long pass-through.
And Mike, just to follow up on the Hans, I believe that someday we'll look back and say probably the best safety device that's ever been made for a Winston Cup race, or for race cars in general. And
we're hearing why Casey Mears sped off pit road, frustrated, had 8 men over the wall, so they were penalized for that too.
Yep. I agree, Darrell. The Hans and its companion device, the Bobby Hutchins device.
Yes.
I'm seeing that in use at a lot of the short tracks now, amateur sports car racing. It's really trickled down through all levels of the sport, and that's a great thing.
Safety helmets certainly in the pits, that's a big deal too. But that device on those drivers, that's going to save a lot of lives.
22 to go here at Charlotte in the NASCAR Busch Series.
The Carquest Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by Carquest Auto Parts. You'll find it at Carquest. By Behind Enemy Lines. Own it on DVD or rent the video today. By Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's. And by Circuit City. We know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you.
Jay Sauter and Jeff Green in Chevrolets, Greg Biffle, Scott Riggs in Fords, Mike McLaughlin's Pontiac, and Kevin Grubb's Chevy are the cars on the lead lap. As we close it down here in the Carquest Auto Parts 300, I want to take a second to say hello to a longtime colleague and twice Grand National champion Ned Jarrett. Had some shortness of breath Wednesday night, checked into the hospital in Hickory on Thursday, where they found an artery with 95% blockage, but that's all been fixed. Ned is home and resting the rest of this weekend. Want to send him our best wishes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Darrell, I'm pretty impressed with this 2-car with Jay Sauter leading this race. I mean, he's running mid-32, 32.49. In fact, his last lap, his teammate, who has about 50 lap fresher tires, 32.33, he's on pit road, but I would say it'll probably be just 2 right side tires.
Oh, yeah. Maybe just some gas, Larry. Maybe can run that good.
4, 3.
Only got to 20 to go.
The answer is Darrell's right. It's going to be just gas. 3 seconds worth of gas for Jay Sauter. Boom, boom, boom. He's out of here.
I think that's a great call.
Yep. Jeff Green just went across the line to take over the lead.
This close in now, that will not win him the race, but it'll get him a good finishing position because he's going to have 93 laps on those tires.
And he hadn't slowed down that much, so why take the time? With less than 20 laps, 15 to go.
Now, right behind Green, he's got a challenge from Michael Waltrip to try to get back on the lead lap.
That 21 car's been strong all day, Larry. He's been right up there in top 2 or 3, and Jeff Green he runs this racetrack really well.
It's almost like he wasn't maybe that strong in the very beginning. He was strong, but boy, about halfway through this race, that car really started to come on.
Both Childress, both Childress's Busch cars today are running really good.
And a lot of green flag laps here. Greg Biffle, 3.5 seconds behind this fan, Jeff Green. Let's cycle back and show you that interval.
And it's kind of funny. Last year, Jack Roush's Busch cars would run really good. His Cup cars wouldn't run so hot. And this year, Childress's Busch cars run pretty good. His Cup cars don't run so hot.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back for the finish of the Carquest Auto Parts 300 in Charlotte. Jeff Green is trying to win this race for the second straight year. Now, this is not an official trivia question, but do you know who the drivers are that have won this race back-to-back? There are 2 of them.
Oh, gosh, oh, we're in trouble.
Turn 3.
Caution is out.
Dan Pardis.
Caution is out here. 8 laps to go.
Well, that'll even things up, but it will lock from 11th place down. 1 lap down. Michael Waltrip cannot beat Jeff Green back to the line to get on the lead lap.
Looks like Jeff Green tried. He tried to let him get back, just wasn't enough room.
I think that they were probably asking him and hollering at him, but he had too much speed to get to the line.
So 10 cars left on the lead lap. Who have won this race in consecutive years? Jeff Green's trying to do it.
Well, Mark Martin, Larry Gant.
Yeah, Mark Martin would be my guess.
Good try, Larry. Mark Martin in 98 and 99, as you see Dan Pardis go around.
Looked like he had some help from Casey Mears.
Here's the leader right there as he goes by, and of course Michael was trying to get a lap back there. He went right there, so time he got around here, he just was going too fast.
Mark Martin, who's the answer to every Busch trivia question, and Tim Richmond, 1984 and 85, won this race back-to-back.
Michael's not, he's saying, why didn't you slow down sooner? You're a homeboy.
So here are the 10 cars on the lead lap.
Beat Michael like you are.
Jeff Green,
Okay,
Greg Biffle, Scott Riggs, Mike McLaughlin, Kevin Grubb, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Jay Sauter, Jack Sprague, Todd Bodine, and Kevin LePage are the cars on the lead lap.
10 cars on the lead lap. Darrell, from about Jay Sauter on 7th back, I almost feel like they need to come get 4 fresh tires. Jay Sauter's sitting out there right now on 90 laps on his tires.
And we know they got tires because they pitted under the green, so they got to have a set of tires in the pits. Come on, boys.
And Sauter just got gas.
And Biffle comes to pit road. Biffle's on pit road. Gives up 2nd place, Dick Berggren.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you who made that call, too. It was Greg Biffle. Randy Goss said, this is your choice. When he found out there were 10 cars in the lead lap, Biffle chose, the driver chose 4 fresh tires and 1 can of gas. I don't know why they need the gas. They probably really don't. It's no can going in there right now. But they're going to take 4 fresh ones. Biffle going to start out 10th on the lead lap and see if he can pass everybody with this race almost over.
And Darrell, what I don't understand, the only other car on the lead lap, the car that was running 10th, Kevin LePage in his 37 car. But now just remember, it'll be a down finger restart, which means with 10 to go, single file, only lead lap cars to the front. So that means Greg Biffle will be able to line up in 9th position with Kevin LePage behind him.
The only thing I can think of is if they didn't have any tires, that they wouldn't come down.
Now, well, they have another set of tires because that 3rd set was changed under green. Now, another thing they may be banking on, will NASCAR throw a red flag to make sure we get several laps of green flag racing here?
Well, I don't think there's nothing on the racetrack. The track's clean. That car just spun. We should get 1 to go next time by.
But they need as many green flag laps as they can get here at the end.
Just a little debris. They're picking that up. We should be green here pretty quick.
We'll be back for the finish.
Fox welcomes you back live, and next week the return of Fox Saturday Baseball as an old rivalry renewed when Nomar Garciaparra and the Red Sox battle Jason Giambi and the Red Hot Yankees, or Luis Gonzalez and the defending world champion Diamondbacks taking on the Dodgers in an all-NL West showdown. There is other regional action. It all begins this week in baseball next Saturday, 12:30 Eastern and Pacific, right here on Fox. Well, we got about 5 laps to go. Jeff Hammond, Greg Biffle judging his move to go in. As Dick Berggren reported, it was his call. What'd you think of it?
Well, he's trying to win the race right now, Chris, and he felt like, I can't win this race unless I come get some tires. We saw earlier that tires were worth about a second to a second and a half. Now, letting them cool down might make a big difference, but I think it may have been a good call. What do you think, Dick Berggren?
Well, what I think doesn't matter. What Randy Goss thinks really does. Right now, Goss talking to his driver. He just said, good call. What do you think? Can you win this thing?
I don't think so. I think we got too far to go, but things ain't been going too good for the Granger team this year, so we're going to roll the dice and give Biffle some tires. That's what you give the gunfighter some bullets and see what happens.
Okay, here we go. Green flag coming out soon, Mike.
Jack Sprague's trying to squeeze his way up into position. Now he's a lead lap car in 9th, and look at the damage on the right front. He hit the wall.
Yeah, he's going to have to come back to pit road, and we're getting a green flag next time. What happened? Jack Sprague, the 24, Todd Bodine in the 92 lead lap cars, they waited to 1 to go, but you have to be in line by the time you get to turn 3. They almost couldn't get there, and that's what happened here.
He's going to have to come to pit road. There's a lot of damage there.
Going to take the green with 4 laps to go.
Greg Biffle, now he'll line up 7th because of those 2 cars.
I tell you, things are looking pretty good for Biffle, if you ask me. he can get a couple of them here on this first car, down in one, get a couple down the back, he'll be there.
Now, he should get Jay Sauter in a hurry because Jay Sauter's sitting there on almost 90-lap tires right side and left side.
Here we go.
Actually, he's going to get a couple right here real quick.
Good restart by Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 25. That's going to move him up to 5th position right here.
And Sprague did not pit. He's going to try to finish with that rubbing tire.
Whoa, that's dangerous. But he's on the lead lap. I don't think he can drive the car. He's going to get run over by these other cars.
Bunch of cars coming at him.
Biffle's just kind of frozen right where he is going down the back. Here he goes into the corners where he's going to really make the difference. So up on the outside.
Boy, with those 4 fresh tires,
he doesn't have to wait.
Grip, he's just rolling out of the throttle just for a second.
He doesn't have to wait.
But he don't have much time. He can't wait. He's got to go.
Trouble back here, though, with Sprague. He's got everybody bottlenecked up back here in the back. Here goes Biffle, though. He has got to run. He's going to win this race.
All right, there he pulls up on the back of Scott Riggs. This is a battle for second. Down the front stretch, 2 laps to go next time.
They can't stop him. I mean, he's so much faster than they are. They can't stop him.
2 to go.
It'll be 2 to go when they get to the line.
Baby, nice and smooth.
Everything fell in place. The restart, catching these cars, perfect. The only thing that'll keep him winning this race is a caution flag.
That lap, he ran 31.51, passing the car leader, Jeff Green, 31.94. About a lap and a half to go.
Jack Sprague has been black flagged, but there's but 2 laps to go.
All right, here, watch him drive off into turn 3 right here. Watch Biffle how much run. He'll gain 3 or 4 car lengths right there, all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack in the middle of 3 and 4. White flag this time.
Here he comes.
Biffle's last win last October at Phoenix, 3 wide back behind them at 5th place.
Go after him, you the man.
Wow.
And Jeff Green, he'll run the bottom here in turn 1 and 2. It'll be hard for Biffle to get him right here. But down that back stretch, he'll run into turn 3.
He'll get him over here.
Sprague hit the wall in 4.
It's okay.
And now goes limps across to take the white flag.
All right, here could be the race right here. Getting out
outside. Go, 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 go. Gas it.
They're side by side off turn 4. Is he going to break the momentum? Jeff Green. It's going to be close, guys.
Green slid up in front of him and wins the Carquest 300.
Biffle drove into turn 3. It's so hard. He got up high and he couldn't get back in the throttle. He got up too high.
And Jack Sprague's strategy ended up with a crash in the wall at turn 4, but he is still driving that car.
I'll tell you, he's hit the wall in all 4 corners.
And right now, he was scored in 10th position.
He's the number 2 point man. Stopping would have put him further down.
Well, and he was on the lead lap, so doesn't look good, but it doesn't say in the book how it looked.
Well, he did finish.
Wow.
Always
Jeff Green
something exciting.
Gets his 2nd consecutive May victory at Charlotte, joining Tim Richmond and Mark Martin on that exclusive list. He now has 4 top 4 results in his last 5 races here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Now, Mr. Crew Chief, how many other crew chiefs are down there saying, why didn't we come down and get tires?
I guarantee
how many drivers
I'm
are
probably
saying
the only one that isn't is this man right here, Jeff Green, in that 21 car.
Got it. Told you we should have got tires.
Jeff Green lights up the front straightaway. And he gets to come back and run 600 miles tomorrow. Don't hurt the logo.
Just a little
Go to victory lane.
Just a little shortcut.
Say the fun police. Welcome to our Carquest Auto Parts 300 post-race show as Jeff Green has his 2nd win of 2002, narrowly edging Greg Biffle. Scott Riggs, the rookie, for 3rd. Mike McLaughlin, Todd Bodine, LePage, Hamilton, Grubb, Sauter, and a game Jack Sprague coming through for 10th.
Our points leader, Jason Keller. Boy, what an up-and-down day. Comes home 13th, and probably the only thing that salvaged him was Jack Sprague finishing in 10th.
Look at Sprague's car.
It's a mess.
There's not much left.
That's a rolling wreck. That's all.
It's hard to believe that's a 10th place car.
And a part of it's not even rolling.
We're going to have a hard time finding enough to fix of the right front of that car. It's been ground down.
Can you see the car on pit road? I guess you don't want
But now, victory lane.
Yeah, but right now it's just those 2 guys that we made right now.
And there's Jeff Green in our Circuit City victory lane. And waiting on him there, Steve Burns.
All right, thanks, Mike. He's taking off the gloves. getting his sunglasses, trying to get unhooked, taking the helmet off.
Hey, push the clutch in.
As you said, Jeff Green wins back-to-back races.
Push the clutch in.
Jeff Green, tell us about that shootout with Greg Biffle.
Well, Steve, I knew if we come in, nobody would, and Butch and I talked it over, and that's the only choice we had. We had to hold him off, and I knew Greg would be coming, but didn't dang think he'd come that fast. Just thank the good Lord for a safe day. We're looking forward when Jeff Purvis comes back and sees us and races with us, and thank RCR for these motors, and Rockwell and Goodyear and Chevrolet, what they do for me here. This is fun, man. I wish I could do this on Sunday. We're going to do it before long, but this is the way it goes. I love Charlotte. This is 2 in a row for the spring race. Hopefully we can keep doing that.
Congratulations, Jeff Green. Let's go to Dick Bergeron.
Greg Biffle with absolutely the gutsiest move you could ever possibly imagine. How are you feeling? Are you okay, man?
I'm really sore. My ribs are hurting. Everything went wrong today. About halfway through the race, a quarter of the way through the race, my cold air blowing to my helmet broke, and had no air conditioning. I mean, it's just not air conditioning, but it's a little bit of air. And then one of my earplugs quit working, so I was having a hard time hearing the spotter and the crew chief, but everybody did a good job today. I wish that we could have a little bit better green flag stop, but, you know, everything worked out. You know, coming in for those tires at the end, that was my call, and I thought it was going to be the right thing to do. I may have overdrove it just a little bit there, but Jeff's car was pretty good with the tires cooled down.
This is an incredible performance. Last week, this guy hit so hard, the outside of his helmet broke, and it also fractured the inside. Today, he finishes in second spot. To Matt.
Dick and rookie Scott Riggs continues to impress. Never seen the place before Friday, and you come home with a third-place finish. Wow, impressive.
Yeah, we got to give it to all the guys. They know what kind of car to put under me. We unloaded off the truck, made some changes, got slower in practice, like 24th in practice. Qualified 12th, went out there in happy hour, about 11th quick, and then we just kept getting worse the more we adjusted. So we ended up going right back where we had off the trailer. Harold Holly and all the guys on the Nesquik Ford Taurus, Robert Yates, Greg Pollux, all the PPC Renegades who gave me great pit stops. Got to give my hats off to all them. It was just awful hot out there, I tell you.
Quickly, have you ever been that hot in a race car or race truck before?
Well, the trucks, luckily, they don't have a side window, so they get a lot of air, but this thing was hot.
His 9th top 10 finish in 13 races this season. Chris?
That looks like he's ready for the pool already. Jump into some Nesquik, but a chilled Nesquik, of course. So Richard Childress, Jeff Green, they break Ford's 6-race win streak this season. Let's look at the Busch standings to the moment. Jason Keller, your leader, followed by Sprague.
Yeah, I mean, really right now you've seen Sprague trying to hang on that top 10 right there just so he could keep close to Jason Keller. Jason didn't have quite the run he was looking for today, but, you know, shaping up to re-one. Whale of a point battle.
Quick thought on the strategy at the end with Biffle.
Oh, I loved it. I think it was a great call. They knew they couldn't win. They came here to win. They showed a lot of courage and a lot of guts to come down there and to do what they did, and they almost pulled it out.
All right, Jeff Green held on. Some terrific driving from him. We'll get a look at him on the race on Sunday as well on Fox. NASCAR racing across the Fox networks continued tomorrow with NASCAR this morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice on Fox Sports Net. And then go racing under the lights. It's really a twilight by the time it starts. The Coca-Cola Racing Family 600 on Fox, the pre-race show featuring a special tribute to the Memorial Day holiday weekend. And Tony Stewart joins us. Speed Channel, the home of NASCAR TV. Nothing gets you closer to NASCAR. This the second longest race of the Busch season as Jeff Green battling through 300 miles. 43-year-old Ron Hornaday was actually on the pole. But the rookie drivers contributing to 9 caution flags through this race. 13 cars actually were unable to finish the race. 8 drivers from the Busch race today will actually be in Sunday's Coca-Cola Family 600, including Jeff Green, who wins here, as Jeff Green is only the 3rd driver to win consecutive spring Busch races as he does it, and we'll keep an eye on him tomorrow. Holding off Greg Biffle in a dramatic finish as Biffle gambled. Was second when he went into the pits, second when he finished up. All of us here on Fox wish you a happy holiday weekend. We thank you for watching us here from Lowe's Motor Speedway. We'll see you tomorrow, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific for NASCAR on Fox.